Warrior Lore. Chapter 2120. They were all from small and medium-sized forces, and there were also many independent cultivators. They wanted to enter to search for opportunities, and although they knew that it would be dangerous, they still wanted to take the risk. Everyone, there are many entrances. Let's part ways for now. Taoist Qingfeng, Saint Feng Qi, Ming Qianhe, Hu Xuanhu, and the other Saint Realm cultivators led several experts from their respective clans and prepared to enter the 13 huge entrances. Xiaofu, come with me. We can take care of each other. Jalobatian was naturally worried about Du Xiaofu going alone. There were no Saint Realm experts in the desolate country. Kid, you can go alone. It's dangerous inside, but there should be some opportunities. It's not good to have too many people. The voice sounded in Du Xiaofu's mind again. Grandpa, I want to go alone. Don't worry, I can protect myself. Du Xiaofu said to Jalobatian without hesitation. It's dangerous inside. There's also Qin Yanlong and the devil religion. Don't be careless. Jalobatian reminded Du Xiaofu. He was still worried. It won't be a big problem. Du Xiaofu nodded affirmatively. It's been too long. There are many experts buried here, and there are sealed giant demons. After so long, the seal of the heavenly devil battlefield has been broken. No one knows what's inside. You must be careful when you go in. Finally, Jalobatian reminded Du Xiaofu seriously and did not say anything more. He was still worried, but he believed that Du Xiaofu had his own plans. Du Xiaofu wanted to go in alone, but little Xingxing and Du Xiaoyao insisted on following. I'll go with you too, Du Tingxian said to Du Xiaofu with a determined look. Xiaofu, I'll go with you too, Dongli Qingqing said. Du Xiaofu looked at his father and Dongli Qingqing. He had never fought alongside his father before. Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu, as well as two elders from the Fangji clan, planned to enter. The heavenly wood divine tree was still in seclusion and had no saint to protect it. Du Xiaofu pondered for a moment. Although it was dangerous for them to follow him, it was better to have Dongli Qingqing and the others follow him. At least they could look after him. Xiangu wanted to go with Little Star, but Du Xiaofu kindly refused. In the end, Du Xiaofu had Dongfang Qingmu, Nether Demon, and Heavenly Wolf Lonely Sky Howl follow the great golden-winged rocks. As for Du Xiaofu, he went with Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, Du Xiaoyao, Little Star, Lian Qingrong, Dongli Ruoshu, and the two elders from the Fangji clan. Gu Xinyan, Tang Wu, the general, Gua Xiaofeng, and the other disciples of Tianwu Academy also wanted to enter, but they were rejected by Du Xiaofu. The general, Gu Xinyan, and the others had grown stronger over the years, but it wasn't enough for them to enter. Moreover, the only ones who could lead Tianwu Academy were the general, Gu Xinyan, and the others. It wasn't enough for any accidents to happen. Du Xiaofu even gave the ancient battlefield that he had taken from the Bazaar land to the general. If anything were to happen to him, Tianwu Academy would be able to inherit the heritage left behind by the ancestors of Tianwu Academy on the ancient warship. You must come back. The general, Gu Xinyan, Wu Kei, and the others looked at Du Xiaofu. Although they had been the ones in charge of maintaining Tianwu Academy all these years, how could they not know that if it weren't for this fellow before them, Tianwu Academy would have long disappeared from this world? Don't worry. As long as I don't want to die, no one can take my life. Du Xiaofu smiled at the general, Gua Xiaofeng, Gu Eiwa, and Gu Xinyan. Although there were many enemies here, and some were even Sage Realm experts, Du Xiaofu knew that he wasn't as helpless as before. Moreover, he had an absolute trump card in his hands. I'll make a move first. Jiangchen moved. Without any hesitation, he tapped the ground and transformed into a streak of light, entering one of the entrances. Let's go. The experts from the Confucian School, Taoist School, Maha's School, and School of Agriculture also started moving. Let's go. Du Xiaofu nodded at his father, Dongli Qingqing, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and the others, then moved towards one of the entrances. However, he intentionally avoided the entrance that Qin Yanlong and the devil religion had entered. Although he had an absolute trump card, Du Xiaofu didn't intend to clash head-on with Qin Yanlong, the devil religion, and the others. Whoosh whoosh. Large groups of people scrambled to enter the giant tomb. On the other hand, Almost all the people from the major forces remained where they were. This scene puzzled some of the living beings present. Some of the weaker ones felt their souls tremble when they sensed the aura emanating from the tomb. They didn't dare to enter. In a corner of the plaza, after Du Xiaofu entered the tomb, two mysterious figures slowly raised their heads. These two people were very strange. They wore hats and robes, and wore strange masks with black patterns that covered their faces. Only their eyes could be seen. They stared in the direction where Du Xiaofu had just entered the tomb, and a cold light flashed in their eyes. They were very mysterious. Back in the divine domain, they'd appeared in front of the sovereign's tomb, then entered it. "Let's go." Beneath their masks, the two of them looked at each other, then leapt into the tomb as well. A faint glow flickered within the huge entrance. The closer one got to it, the more intense the pressure that was emitted from the huge object became. Du Xiaofu transformed into a streak of light, darting through the passageway. However, the profound energy in his body circulated through his meridians and acupoints. He remained vigilant at all times. Behind Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Dongli Qingqing, and the others followed closely, none of them daring to be careless. It didn't take long. In less than 3 minutes, the light in front became dimmer, and the area became narrower. In the end, only one person could pass through. Du Xiaofu carefully passed through the entrance that could only allow one person to pass through. Suddenly, his primordial spirit trembled, and his hair stood on end instinctively. In an instant, his vision became extremely vast, and the space changed drastically. A gust of eerie and terrifying demonic aura assaulted his nostrils. What a terrifying demonic aura! The first feeling that Du Xiaofu felt from this space was a terrifying demonic aura. It was a dense demonic aura that he'd never seen before. The demonic aura shrouded the void like a black fog, and the air was also filled with demonic aura. Du Xiaofu quickly scanned his surroundings. The interior of this enormous object was like an underground world. It was flat and spacious, and huge rocks were scattered everywhere. Occasionally, some scattered white bones could be seen. In this space, the vision was a little dim, and the black demonic aura that was floating in the air blocked his vision. In the void, a steady stream of demonic aura was floating. The demonic aura was so dense that even with Du Xiaofu's cultivation and the current strength of his primordial spirit, he felt his heart palpitate. Although he was still safe and sound in the demonic aura, Du Xiaofu immediately released spiritual lightning from his body, which flowed around the surface of his body to prevent the demonic aura from entering his body. Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, Du Xiaoyao, and the others followed closely behind and landed beside Du Xiaofu. They looked around and were surprised. "You're smart. This demonic aura is different. Once it enters your body, the consequences will be unimaginable." That voice sounded in Du Xiaofu's mind again. "Fire lightning seed. Are you finally awake?" In the Naiwan palace in his mind, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit Crimson Horse Monkey spoke and looked at the cluster of sparkling blue flames. The fire lightning seed had already informed him of the sneak attack by the 7 demon emperors. Not long ago, it was also the fire lightning seed who suggested that Du Xiaofu enter this place alone. Du Xiaofu waited until now to speak in his Naiwan palace because he was afraid that the fire lightning seed would be found out by the experts on his body. Although it was in his Naiwan palace, and it was unlikely that the experts of the Sage Realm would be able to find out, Du Xiaofu was still careful just in case. After all, this was his trump card. As soon as Du Xiaofu's essence soul finished speaking, the crimson blue flames slowly rose up in a dazzling manner. Accompanied by the ripples of crimson blue lightning, a slightly illusory human figure floated out from within the flames, and it revealed a round face. "Kid, can't you be more polite to me?" Master Huarelei glared at Du Xiaofu's scarlet demonic monkey Yuan Shun. He seemed to have gotten used to Du Xiaofu's impoliteness. His long red hair looked real and illusory. For some reason, his eyes darkened. In his deep eyes, there was a red and blue flame burning. He murmured, "Seems like it is unstoppable." "Sai, what's going on? Where is this place?" Du Xiaofu asked. He felt as if flame lightning was talking about this strange space. "This is the place where the demonic god's primordial spirit is sealed. It was set up by the supreme expert and the dragon god back then. It is also the eternal tomb that is rumored to be. But now, it seems that the demonic god has broken through most of the seals. I wonder if those guys are still alive. Huale said, "You're saying there's someone else inside?" Even though Du Xiaofu had already learned from the various factions that there were probably still ancient-era experts who had yet to perish in the heavenly devil battlefield, Du Xiaofu knew that the various factions probably still had ancient-era experts who had yet to perish. But now that he heard it from Master Huale himself, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but feel shocked. Of course there are. Back then, the 9 great families, the dragons, the phoenixes, the Yao realm, and the beast region's peak experts were probably all here. But now, I reckon there aren't many who are still alive, said Master Huale. Back then, those ancient-era experts weren't able to suppress the demonic god. What's the point of us coming in? Du Xiaofu's heart was heavy. The ruler of the 3,000 worlds had said that the 9 cauldrons would gather and command the 9 great families to resist the demonic god. But if the 9 great families, the dragons, the phoenixes, and the other ancient-era experts had already suffered a calamity, then let alone the future, even if they came in now, it would be disastrous. Where there is a will, there is a way. The 9 great families, the dragons, and the phoenixes came in now. Do you think they came in to resist the demonic god? They just want to see if those people from back then really died. They're looking for a way out. Chapter 21:21. Even if the demon god's primordial spirit can break free, it will be extremely weak. This is our last chance. Du Xiaofu's heart was heavy. Out of the 9 demon emperors, 4 of them had recovered their primordial spirits and physical bodies. The great demon emperor was even more terrifying. The so-called demon god was something that even the dragon god and the 3,000 great worlds could only suppress and seal. How powerful was that? Once the demon god broke free, no one in the world would be able to stop him. You said there are some opportunities here. Where is it? Du Xiaofu asked Huale. No matter what, he had to get the opportunity first. Then, he would have more power to protect himself in the future. I have to find it slowly. Just follow the direction I told you. Huale stared at Du Xiaofu. How do we go? As Huale finished speaking, Du Tingxian asked. Everyone recovered from their shock. Just follow me, Du Xiaofu said to his drunkard father. Then, he reminded everyone, the demon qi here is strange. Don't let it enter your body. When Du Xiaofu heard this, he reminded everyone. Master Huale seemed to be extremely afraid of the demonic energy. Once the demonic energy entered his body, the consequences would be extremely severe. Huff. Taking a deep breath, Du Xiaofu followed the instructions of the fire lightning seed in his Naiwan palace and moved forward. Along the way, he kept turning left and right. He didn't know how big this space was, as if there was no end to it. Huale, how much have you recovered? Du Xiaofu was very concerned about Huale's recovery. Otherwise, he would be in big trouble if he met those demon emperors from the devil religion. Plus, this place was definitely not a good place. He had to be careful and prepared. Still far from the peak, but there is no time left. Huale said. Whoosh whoosh. Du Xiaofu and the others were flying in the air, but they didn't fly too high. Thick demonic qi was lingering in the air, like dark clouds, and no one dared to touch it. Upon hearing Du Xiaofu's reminder, everyone began to circulate their celestial qi and various means to resist the devil qi. Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoshu, Little Xingxing, Lin Qingrong and the others were all extraordinary. The devil qi was thick and strange, but it could not affect Du Tingxian and the others to the point where they could not move forward. Before the bridge, you seemed to be breaking through to the Saint Realm. Why did you fail? Du Tingxian asked Du Xiaofu as they leaped through space at a low altitude. His expression was serious, and there was a certain kind of worry in his eyes. I don't know why, but there seems to be some kind of resistance that prevents me from breaking through the final bottleneck. Du Xiaofu recalled the scene when he was comprehending before the bridge. It seemed that he was about to break through, but in the end, it was suddenly interrupted and stopped abruptly. If you can't succeed in one attempt, it's like a drum of energy, then it will weaken and exhaust. The chances of success in the future will become slimmer and slimmer. It's said that in ancient times, experts who couldn't step into the Saint Realm in one attempt would never have the chance to step into the Saint Realm in the future, Du Tingxian said. The Domain Realm was the strongest expert in the world. But the Saint Realm was the pinnacle of the experts. The Saint Realm was the dividing line between the experts in the world. But there were too few Saint Realm experts. The 3 continents of Kyushu were so vast that it was difficult for one Domain Realm expert to walk out of hundreds of millions of creatures. And it was difficult for one Saint Realm expert to walk out of thousands of Domain Realm experts. There were too few Saint Realm experts, but they were the pinnacle. They were the ones who truly controlled the top forces in the world. If one wanted to step into the Saint Realm, he had to do it in one go. If he failed, there would be little hope. Du Xiaofu had walked all the way here alone. No one had told him in advance. Otherwise, he wouldn't have rashly wanted to break through. In ancient times, if the 9 great families, the dragons, and the phoenixes wanted to break through the barrier of the Saint Realm, the entire family would be on guard. There would be Saint Realm experts in the family personally overseeing the situation. They couldn't be affected at all. Unlike Du Xiaofu, who wanted to break through in front of the abyss. Du Tingxian didn't know this beforehand. He had heard it from Jalobatian, Moon Saint, Xin Gu, and other experts. I heard them say that it's difficult for anyone in the world to step into the Saint Realm again, little Xingxing said. He had also heard it from Xin Gu and others. Why? Du Xiaofu was puzzled. Little Xingxing shook his head. He didn't know the reason. It's related to the heavenly devil battlefield, but I don't know if it's true or not, Lian Qingrong said. She had only heard some rumors and didn't know if it was true or not. In this world, no one should be able to break through to the Saint Realm again. Inside Du Xiaofu's Naiwen Palace, Master Hualei sighed. The sound of the outside world couldn't escape his perception. Master Hualei, do you know the reason? Inside the Naiwen Palace, Du Xiaofu's 9 transformations Lei Lian's primordial spirit of the red horse monkey asked Master Hualei. No one in this world could break through to the Saint Realm. This shocked Du Xiaofu and puzzled him. It's not just that no one in this world can break through to the Saint Realm anymore. Even the current Saint Realm cultivators wouldn't dare to come out casually in this long period of time. This world will exhaust them and make them regress. That's why they entered the eternal tomb to save themselves. Master Hualei's illusory figure fluctuated in the crimson-blue flames. His eyes were filled with emotions. Du Xiaofu was shocked by this news. Sage Realm cultivators could regress. No wonder those Sage Realm cultivators hadn't shown their faces for such a long time. Du Xiaofu had thought that they were in seclusion in order to advance further. It turned out that this world could actually make them regress. Are you saying that one day, a Saint Stage cultivator will regress to the Domain Stage? Du Xiaofu looked at Master Hualei and asked. If this was true, then he wouldn't have to be afraid of Qin Yunlong, Long Qianchao, and the others. Once those guys regressed to the Domain Realm, Du Xiaofu had absolute confidence that he could kill those old men. If a Saint Realm cultivator regresses to the Domain Realm, then the Domain Realm won't be any better, said Master Flamespark. Why is this? Is it all related to the Eternal Tomb? Du Xiaofu's barefoot horse monkey primordial spirit frowned slightly. If this was the case, then it would be difficult to deal with Long Qianchao and the others. Everything is in the heavenly devil battlefield. Everything is in the eternal tomb that you speak of. There's no harm in telling you. We've already reached this stage. You're a descendant of the Du family, and you have the lightning vein. You have the right and need to know this. Master Hualei's eyes were filled with crimson-blue flames. He looked at Du Xiaofu and asked, there were 2 supreme experts who sealed the demon god. One was the dragon god, and the other was the lord of the 3,000 sectors. Do you know about them? Du Xiaofu nodded. He was surprised that Master Hualei knew about the lord of the 3,000 sectors. Chapter 21-22. You know about the lord of the 3,000 great worlds. It's not strange that you have the godly thunder cauldron. Master Hualei was also surprised that Du Xiaofu knew about the lord of the 3,000 great worlds. He mumbled to himself and said to Du Xiaofu, when the lord of the 3,000 great worlds suppressed the demon god, the entire heavenly devil battlefield only sealed the demon god's primordial spirit in the eternal tomb. The godly thunder cauldron only suppressed the demon god's body in Kyushu. What do you think the eternal tomb is? It was the master of the 3,000 vast worlds who sealed off this world and channeled the power of heaven and earth into the eternal tomb in order to suppress the primordial spirit of the demon god. From then on, the energy of heaven and earth in this world gradually dried up. How much energy does a Saint Realm cultivator need? The energy of heaven and earth in this world can no longer support the energy consumption required for a living being to break through to the Saint Realm. Those Saint Realm cultivators can't even protect themselves. When the energy of heaven and earth in this world dries up to a certain point, everything they have will return to this world until this world turns into a barren land. At that time, there won't be any living beings in this world, not even plants. Phew, this entire world has actually been sealed. Du Xiaofu's soul core was extremely shocked when it heard this, and it only recovered from its shock after a short moment, causing it to gasp for air. If the entire world has been sealed, then where are the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds and the Dragon God? Du Xiaofu asked Master Hualei. Master Hualei smiled and said to Du Xiaofu, "Actually, I don't know either. But I guess that the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds and the Dragon God are no longer in this world." Could it be that the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds and the Dragon God have fallen? Du Xiaofu was surprised, but after thinking about it, it was impossible. Back then, he saw a shadow of the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds in the godly thunder cauldron. He said that if he could gather the 9 cauldrons, they might be able to fight side by side. So, the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds shouldn't have fallen. The lords of the 3,000 greater worlds and the Dragon God have not fallen. Master Flamespark's eyes flickered. He pondered for a bit and said, "The vast universe is not only limited to our world. Outside of this world, perhaps there is an even bigger world. Perhaps that is where the master of the 3,000 great worlds and the Dragon God reside. I have come into contact with the secrets of the 9 great families, the dragons, and the phoenixes. I have speculated that there is an even bigger world outside of this world." There's another world. Du Xiaofu was shocked. Outside of this world, there was another world. This caused Du Xiaofu to be thoroughly shocked. Perhaps that's the case. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. He still remembered what the shadow of the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds had said. How vast the universe was. There were many races, and the path of the strong was endless. At this moment, Du Xiaofu thought that it was enough to prove that the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds and the Dragon God were in another world. In the divine domain, after the immeasurable nirvana, Du Xiaofu also remembered that the shadow of the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds had also appeared. He said that he had barely met the requirements of the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds. In the vast universe, he could barely compete with those outstanding peers. This made Du Xiaofu ponder in his heart. Outside of this world, there was an even bigger world. Swish! And just as Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit was deep in thought and shock, outside of the barren space covered by the demon qi, a cold light swept past like an arrow, piercing through the void and instantly arriving in front of Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu was deep in thought, but he did not let his guard down. He immediately came back to his senses. His body moved, and with a shake of his arm, a golden light erupted, and a palm print was pushed out. Bang! The golden light swept out, and the imposing manner was overbearing, shattering the cold light. Woo! At the same time, dark cloud-like devil chi surged in the sky not far ahead. A black bird that was hundreds of meters in size flapped its wings and opened its blood-red eyes that were like 2 blood moons hanging low in the sky. A terrifying and baleful devil chi swept out and distorted a large area of the sky. It's the demon vulture clan. It doesn't seem normal. Everyone had stopped a long time ago, and they were vigilant. Du Tingshuan's eyes darkened. The fierce bird was an expert from the demon vulture clan, but the expert from the demon vulture clan gave off a strange feeling. It's the demon vulture that was left here by the demon vulture clan. It has been affected and controlled by the demon qi. Its will has been destroyed, and it has turned into a demonic creature. Hua Leizi said in Du Xiaofu's Naiwan Palace, and his tone was heavy. Woo! At the same time, the huge demon vulture screeched, and its bloody moon-like eyes stared at Du Xiaofu, little Xingxing, and the rest. It flapped its wings, stirred up the demon clouds, and its sharp claws tore through the void and pounced on everyone. Humph! Little Xing let out a cold snort. His foot stomped on the empty space and his body flashed forward. His little fist was clenched tightly before it was suddenly thrown forward. An incomparably hot golden flame swept apart like a storm and directly collided in front of the enormous demon eagle's body. Boom! When the two collided, the void instantly rumbled, and the golden flame swept out, burning the demon chi. Large pieces of the void were shattered, and the ripples in the void were like fireworks that exploded with the golden flame and stopped after a certain point. The demon vulture's body was shattered, and it was burned into nothingness by the golden flame. Du Xiaofu's expression turned serious. It was no wonder that the major forces did not allow weak disciples to enter. Any random demonic creature they encountered here was at the Master Region realm. Back then, there were so many ancient experts in the ancient battlefield. If they were all affected and controlled by the demon chi here, how terrifying would that be? This demon vulture is not normal. It seems to be affected by something, Du Tingxian said, as he felt that the demon vulture was normal. That demon vulture clan expert should have been left behind in the ancient era. It was affected by the demon chi and turned into a demonic creature, Dongru Rua said. She had lived in the heavenly Yu mountain since she was young, so she knew some things. If it were not for the protection of the sacred ancestor, the heavenly wood divine tree, the Fang Jijia clan would not have survived until now. Their ancestors would have turned into demonic creatures long ago. Du Xiaofu told everyone what Huolezi had said, which surprised everyone. Their expressions turned serious. It seems that this place is not simple. Everyone, be careful. Du Tingxian said to everyone. Everyone continued to set off. According to Huolezi's instructions, Du Xiaofu traveled through the void. In the next few hours, they encountered a few more demonic beings that weren't at the Overlord region. However, with their cultivations and strength, and with Du Xiaofu, little Xing, and Du Xiaoyao by their side, they were able to pass through the demonic beings without any danger. Kid, the opportunity should be right in front of us. Suddenly, Huolezi's voice fluctuated in Du Xiaofu's mind, and scarlet blue flames rose in his eyes. Chapter 21-23. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu's figure gradually slowed down as he looked ahead. There doesn't seem to be anything special, Du Xiaofu's soul said to Master Huale. He scanned the surroundings with his senses, but he did not discover anything special. Even with the redbone horse monkey's soul, he was unable to sense anything out of the ordinary. Be careful. This is not a good place, Master Huale reminded Du Xiaofu. He was very enthusiastic. Seeing Du Xiaofu slow down, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaoyao, little Xing, and Dongli Qingqing slowed down as well. They spread their senses out, but they did not discover anything. Du Xiaofu advanced slowly. He was tense, ready for any sudden changes. Strange. Why is it getting hotter? A while later, Dongli Qingqing said. She sensed the change in temperature. A scorching presence was gradually increasing. The heat did not come from the outside world. It made her soul feel scorching as well. It was very strange. This is not normal. Du Xiaoyao frowned. She glanced around with her golden eyes, trying to find something. Everyone moved forward cautiously. They could feel the temperature change in the void around them. It's right up ahead. Be careful. Within Du Xiaofu's Naiwan Palace, Master Huale was not surprised at all. His eyes were filled with anticipation. The further they advanced, the higher the temperature became. The demonic aura became denser and denser as well. The ground beneath their feet had become scarlet. Whoosh, around half a minute later, the space before them suddenly rippled violently. Not too far away from them, a scorching temperature suddenly radiated. As the space twisted, strands of strange, scarlet-black flames poured out like a flood. Strange figures appeared before them like an army. These figures were very strange. They covered the entire area, and there were hundreds and thousands of them. Their bodies were wrapped in burning crimson-black flames, and within the crimson-black flames were skeletons. Under the burning of the flames, the skeletons were completely crimson-black, and their eyes shone with a cold and merciless demonic light. It was terrifying. What a strange existence. What a powerful presence. One of the elders with Feng Jijiao was shocked. Every single one of the strange, flaming skeletons was probably at the domain realm or above. Some were even close to the domain realm or overlord realm. If it was just a few strange existences at the overlord realm, then none of them would be too worried because they were capable of resisting them. However, there were over 1,000 strange flaming skeletons. It was very terrifying. These skeletons have been affected. Be careful. Pay attention, Master Huarlei said through Du Xiaofu's head. Woo-woo. While Master Huarlei was speaking, the strange, dense skeletons had already charged towards the group with a strange woo-woo sound. When they charged out together, it was undoubtedly equivalent to over 1,000 domain realm, and overlord realm cultivators moving together. The momentum was so vast that it shook the heavens and the earth. It was breathtaking. This momentum caused Lian Qingrong, Dongli Ruoshu, Dongli Qingqing, and the others to look solemn. Du Xiaofu also frowned.
Attack!
Du Xiaofu shouted. Golden light surged from his body. He waved his hand, and the skyquake wings swept out. A wave of domineering energy spread out like a tide. The dozens of strange, scarlet-black flaming skeletons that were charging towards them immediately exploded. Even more skeletons were sent flying. Bang, bang, bang. While Du Xiaofu was attacking, Du Tingxian, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Dongli Qingqing, and the others also instantly launched their attacks. Given their strength, their attacks were extraordinary. Many scarlet-black skeletons were immediately sent flying. Little Xingxing and Du Xiaoyao, in particular, had large amounts of skeletons exploding in front of them. It was enough for them to charge forward. However, a terrifying scene occurred. The scarlet-black skeletons that were sent flying instantly shot out again. They were completely unharmed and charged towards the group again. What was even more terrifying were the scarlet-black skeletons that had been blasted apart. Although the skeletons had been blasted apart, the scarlet-black flames were still burning. Clusters of scarlet-black flames rose from the shattered skeletons. Then, they gathered together and condensed into numerous scarlet-black flaming figures. There were humanoid figures and huge beast-like figures. Their auras were even more terrifying and were rising in a straight line. Bang! There was an explosion of golden light. Du Xiaofu smashed a huge beast-like scarlet-black flame with a punch. It was like a scarlet-black firework exploding. A huge crater was formed in the void. However, it was useless. The crimson-black flames were shattered, but they did not extinguish. They quickly gathered together again and continued to attack. Bang bang! The scarlet-black flaming figures in front of Little Xingxing and Du Xiaoyao were also shattered into pieces. However, they also condensed together again. Purple thunderbolts surged in Du Tingxuan's hands. He bombarded the flaming giants with the power of thunder. However, it was useless. He could not completely destroy the scarlet-black flaming figures. Glaciers of 10,000 miles. Bang! Lian Qingrong attacked. The white battle robe on her body was covered by snow-like ancient runes. The dazzling runes spread out from her body and froze the surrounding void. Walala! The scarlet-black flames were not extinguished. They burned fiercely in the ice seal. Together with the surging demonic aura, they could melt the ice. Very strange. Lian Qingrong was surprised. These scarlet-black flames were too strange. Humph! Little Xingxing snorted angrily. Golden flames rose from his body. The terrifying temperature was clearly even more terrifying than the scarlet-black flames. It burned the demonic aura into nothingness. The scarlet-black flames seemed to be afraid. They actually dodged, not daring to approach. Rumble. Little Xingxing attacked. The golden flames on his body could burn the strange scarlet-black flames. It seemed like he could naturally suppress them. However, he was not fast. However, strange scarlet-black skeletons and flames would jump out from the distorted space from time to time. As for the others, even Du Tingxuan's power of thunder was unable to completely destroy the strange scarlet-black flames. Awu. In the end, there were no less than 20 terrifying figures condensed from the strange scarlet-black flames. Their auras had reached the shocking level of the Lord Domain. They were close to the level of late-stage cultivators. They were difficult to deal with at all. Bang bang! Du Xiaofu attacked. His fists were like two dragons emerging from the sea. They shattered two colossal figures condensed from the scarlet-black flames. In the next moment, the flames from the two colossal figures condensed into one. Its aura was even more powerful, almost reaching the level of a half-saint. Chapter 21-24. In front of the distorted space, the dark red flames were endless. It's useless to continue fighting like this. We'll die of exhaustion. Du Tingxian bellowed. A suit of armor had already been placed on his body. Electric arcs rippled, and at this moment, everyone was already feeling the strain under these strange crimson-black flames. If this continued, sooner or later, they would be exhausted and slowly dragged to death. Du Xiaofu frowned. He looked at the dark red flames that were condensing in front of him. He didn't even dare to attack. Even if he destroyed this giant, it would condense into something even more terrifying. Therefore, he could only fight with these strange creatures. Kid, there's no other way. The distorted space in front is the place of opportunity. You have to go in alone and deal with the source. Hualei said to Du Xiaofu calmly. Master Fire Lightning, you aren't tricking me, right? Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit asked Master Fire Lightning. He felt that something was amiss. What a joke. I'm your ancestor. You're also my descendant. I'll trick anyone but you. Hualei said to Du Xiaofu seriously. You guys hold on for a while. Try not to destroy these strange creatures. Du Xiaoyao, little Xingxing, I'll leave this place to you. Du Xiaofu said to everyone. He handed everyone over to Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing. Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing were the strongest in the group. They needed to help protect everyone. Du Xiaofu's figure flew out like a rock spreading its wings. He shook off the giant flame creature that was almost at the half-step saint level. Du Xiaofu didn't dare to destroy it, in case it condensed into something even stronger. However, as Du Xiaofu approached, the distorted space was filled with runes. It was enough to block everything, including Du Xiaofu's figure. Very strange. Du Xiaofu was very surprised. This distorted space was different. Your red skeleton horse bloodline soul can pass through this space. Hualei seemed to have expected this. This distorted space wasn't enough to stop the red skeleton horse bloodline soul. Du Xiaofu used his bloodline soul and easily passed through the distorted space. Du Xiaofu became more and more surprised. He felt that something wasn't right. Walala! When Du Xiaofu's figure body passed through the distorted space, a scorching dark red flame Hualin Yun swept over like a wave. The terrifying heat, it was enough to burn everything. It contained a terrifying demonic qi demon qi. Boom! Du Xiaofu was already prepared. Golden light burst out from his body, and an incomparably domineering aura swept out. Profound qi covered his entire body, isolating him from the high-temperature crimson-black flames. However, the strange demonic energy was all-pervasive and was able to penetrate Du Xiaofu's profound energy light barrier. Although only a small amount of demonic qi could successfully enter Du Xiaofu's body, it was as fast as lightning. Du Xiaofu was careless, and the demon's demon qi entered his body. Although this demonic energy was very strange and terrifying, it was immediately blocked by Du Xiaofu's immortal Xian body the moment it entered his body. Purple electric arcs rippled as the immortal Xian body took effect and directly destroyed the demonic energy. Boom! Du Xiaofu wasn't at ease. Purple gold profound lightning surged out of the purple lightning profound cauldron. It filled his body and immediately destroyed the demon's demon qi. Purple gold profound lightning covered his body. A destructive lightning aura swept out. It isolated the demon's demon qi and blocked the scorching dark red flame Hui Lin Yun's demon qi. Only then did Du Xiaofu look around. Within the distorted void, there was actually an ancient mountain range. The towering mountain peaks, huge rocks, and vast space were all dyed dark red. Dark red flames covered the sky. The demon's demon qi filled the sky. It looked like a vast sea of fire. Even ordinary Overlord Realm experts would find it difficult to set foot here. Du Xiaofu was shocked. He frowned slightly. The pressure from the strange sea of fire was enough to make ordinary Overlord Realm experts find it difficult to stand. Just the strange demonic chi alone was definitely not something that an ordinary Overlord region cultivator could deal with. Sizzle. Huge waves of flames surged. It seemed like something had exploded within the sea of fire. Huge waves rose up and swept up shattered space. They flooded towards Du Xiaofu again, attempting to overturn the barrier of light around Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu used the purple-gold profound lightning and directly crossed the sea of fire. The flames that flooded towards him were automatically dispersed when they were 100 feet away from him. However, Du Xiaofu had only traversed a distance of a few thousand feet. Within the monstrous flames, the demonic aura surged. Suddenly, the entire space trembled. A huge palm print seemed to have pierced through the space above and pressed down on Du Xiaofu. This palm print was completely condensed from crimson-black flames, and it covered the void. Wherever it passed, the void would crumble. Du Xiaofu raised his eyes and slammed his palm forward. As arcs of violet lightning suffused the surroundings, a violet thundercloud charged out and collided with the palm. Bang! The sound was like a thunderstorm. Du Xiaofu's palm strike blasted the huge palm into pieces. When the palm was blasted apart, the surging sea of fire in the surroundings stopped surging as well. It was like a torrent that had calmed down, and it instantly became calm again. However, the terrifying demon chi and terrifying heat were still present everywhere. It was enough to make it difficult for ordinary Overlord region cultivators to gain a foothold in this space. However, when the sea of fire suddenly calmed down, Du Xiaofu felt slightly uneasy. He felt that this place was very strange. As expected, there were ripples up ahead. Demon chi slowly spread out, and the sea of fire that had just calmed down parted to the sides to reveal a colossus. The colossus was far too huge. It was completely dark red. Surprisingly, it was the skeleton of a colossal dragon. The skeleton was covered in dark red flames, making it seem like a living being. Its eyes were deep and dark as it stared down at Du Xiaofu. Its gaze that was suffused with ripples of energy was like blazing flames, causing one's heart to turn cold. Du Xiaofu stared at the skeleton in the sea of fire, and his face was immediately filled with surprise. This giant dragon skeleton was definitely a holy beast when it was alive. However, it was affected by the black and red flames at this moment. It was unknown how much stronger it was compared to those skeletons outside. In fact, it wouldn't be weaker than those holy beast skeletons that they had encountered in that strange place. However, this place would not be suppressed. Du Xiaofu guessed that the skeleton's battle prowess might be terrifyingly monstrous. You seem a little strange, human. However, I can sense that if I devour you, I'll be able to leave this place. The skeleton stared at Du Xiaofu. Its gaze was not empty. Instead, it seemed like it was alive. It opened its mouth, and dark red flames spewed out from it. Its voice was ghastly. Crack, crack. As the voice of the dragon skeleton rang out, the bones all over its body emitted a low grinding sound. Then, scorching heat and demonic aura surged. The dragon opened its huge mouth and bit towards Du Xiaofu. The crimson-black flames and demonic aura turned into a storm that swept down, engulfing everything. Lightning flashed in Du Xiaofu's eyes. The battle prowess of this skeleton was as strong as he had imagined. Du Xiaofu attacked. He condensed a seal with one hand and used his other hand as a sword. He slashed out the overbearing sword Wei. Qi, a sword light slashed forward. It was simple yet overbearing. It shattered the void and collided with the skeleton. The sword light broke through the void, and golden light erupted. It shattered the void and shattered the dark red flame vortex. The sword light fell on the skeleton and left a mark on it. However, it was not deep. It's very strong. Du Xiaofu frowned again. He was aware of his own strength at the moment. He hadn't held back just now. He had used the tyrant sword Wei. However, he had only left a mark on this skeleton. Even a genuine expert of the semi-sage realm wouldn't have been able to block his sword. Du Xiaofu's brows tightened again. Roar! A crimson-black flame flashed within the eyes of the huge dragon skeleton, which had a sword scar on its body. A true dragon roar was emitted from its throat. Soon after, Its enormous body lingered in the air as crimson-black flame and demonic aura surged out from within its enormous skeleton. They continuously gathered together and gathered on its dragon claws. In an instant, pitch-black cracks spread out around the dragon claw. With a chi sound, the claw fiercely grabbed at Du Xiaofu with monstrous heat, causing the space around Du Xiaofu to distort and shatter. In the face of such a powerful and terrifying claw, Du Xiaofu's face darkened. He shook his arm and blasted out the overbearing fist wei. Roar! The divine elephant trumpeted, and the dragon roared. Golden light erupted and spread in all directions. Bang, bang, bang. Starting from the dragon claw, the skeleton of the huge dragon exploded in a deep sonic boom. However, Du Xiaofu also staggered a few steps back at the same time. Du Xiaofu's face changed slightly. The skeleton of the huge dragon was so powerful. Its strength was definitely more tyrannical than the cultivation of an ordinary half-saint. Roar! Without any hesitation, Du Xiaofu stopped. A cold light shot out from his eyes. Bright purple electric arcs fluctuated in his palm. He suddenly pointed at the void. His figure leaped up. With a wave of his purple robe sleeve, a purple thundercloud appeared in the void. He violently punched. In an instant, purple electric arcs that blotted out the sky poured out from Du Xiaofu's palm like a flood. They gathered into bright thunderbolts. They were like thunder pythons. With destructive power, they directly blasted at the skeleton of the huge dragon. The skeleton of the huge dragon could not dodge. In the midst of the bright purple thunderbolts, the dark red flames in the huge eyes instinctively felt some kind of fear. They urged the dark red flames around to block, but they were destroyed by the thunder pythons. Rumble! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the void as the space exploded. The purple lightning python landed on the giant dragon skeleton and turned into thousands of lightning arcs that surged into the dragon skeleton. It densely covered the giant dragon's body that was entrenched in the void and shattered it. Bang! 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 The huge skeleton of the huge dragon was exploding. The dark red flames were monstrous. Human, you've angered me. At the same time, a bright dark red light swept out from the collapsed skeleton of the huge dragon. In an instant, it turned into a human figure above the sea of fire. Chapter 21-25. The figure was a middle-aged man in his 30s. He wore a red robe and had shoulder-length black hair that fluttered in the wind. He exuded a demonic aura, and his facial features were clear. His eyes were as deep as a black hole, and his pupils were densely covered with black runes. The middle-aged man stood in the air, and the crimson-black flames beneath his feet burned and wriggled. They quickly condensed into a high flaming platform high above. He looked down at Du Xiaofu with an ashen face and a cold glint in his eyes. "Who are you?" Du Xiaofu stared at the mysterious middle-aged man before him. As the middle-aged man's scarlet robes fluttered, a terrifying, scorching demonic aura rippled from his body. Even with Du Xiaofu's current cultivation, he still felt his soul tremble. "Ignorant human, you dare to barge into this place without knowing who I am. However, your physical body seems to be very special. Since you destroyed my host body, you will pay with your physical body." The middle-aged man spoke in a low and sinister voice. As his hand seals formed, the crimson-black flames in the surrounding sea of fire surged like a tide, covering the sky and covering the earth, covering Du Xiaofu. "Humph, what an arrogant tone." Du Xiaofu's expression darkened. This mysterious middle-aged man seemed to be a demon, and his aura was terrifying. However, he should not have reached the true saint stage yet. How could Du Xiaofu be truly afraid? Thousands of purple lightning bolts rushed out from his body like a purple electric waterfall, shaking off the crimson-black flames. A purple lightning bolt condensed into a dazzling spear, breaking through the tide of crimson-black flames and piercing through the void, heading straight for the mysterious middle-aged man. Déjà vu. I seem to have seen this lightning somewhere before. The mysterious middle-aged man's expression changed. His eyes were a little confused, as if he wanted to recall something but could not. Destroy. However, at the same time, the mysterious middle-aged man waved his arm and slapped out. Wisps of bright and translucent crimson-black flames surged out from his body and condensed into a claw in a complicated and mysterious trajectory. A terrifying aura erupted and grabbed the lightning spear in his palm. The two collided, and the light was dazzling. However, there was a strange change that was different from usual. There was no sound during the entire process. The destructive aura on the lightning spear was in a deadlock under the claw, and finally, both were destroyed. Hegemonic sword path. Du Xiaofu's silhouette appeared. Lightning fluctuated, and the violet-golden heavenly tower erupted. The overbearing sword wei slashed out, channeling the power of lightning, wanting to kill the mysterious middle-aged man. Human, who are you? Why do you give me such a familiar feeling? As soon as the mysterious middle-aged man's voice fell, he formed a hand seal in his hand. A crimson-black flame and a torrential demonic aura condensed into a sword. Chi-la-la, the two swords collided, causing the void to shatter. The power of lightning and the crimson-black flames exploded in an incomparably dazzling manner. The surrounding void was filled with countless black vacuum cracks, which were like spider webs. They were densely packed and filled with a monstrous aura of destruction. With the help of the purple-gold heavenly tower, Du Xiaofu gained the upper hand. The crimson-black flame platform condensed under the mysterious middle-aged man's feet was broken from the middle. Despicable humans! The mysterious middle-aged man dodged Du Xiaofu's sword and reappeared, shouting angrily. So strong! Du Xiaofu looked dignified. It seemed that he had gained the upper hand, but it was also because of the help of the purple-gold heavenly tower. In fact, Du Xiaofu knew very well that this mysterious middle-aged man was much stronger than any expert of the half-saint realm that he had encountered. Even if this middle-aged man had not reached the saint realm, he was only a fine line away from it. His cultivation level was not below Du Xiaofu's. Du Xiaofu even had a feeling that this mysterious middle-aged man was the strongest expert under the saint realm when he felt the blazing heat and demonic aura from the mysterious middle-aged man's body. If it were not for his special means, this guy would be the real strongest expert under the saint realm. Fire Thunderseed. Who is this guy? Du Xiaofu's red horse monkey primordial spirit asked Fire Thunderseed in his mind's mud pill palace. Du Xiaofu felt that Fire Thunderseed seemed to be very familiar with this place. He definitely knew the origin of this mysterious guy. Haha, this guy's origin is very deep. I'm afraid that apart from me, there won't be a second person in this world who knows about his origin. Fire Thunderseed spoke with a very proud expression. If it wasn't for the fact that it is impossible to break through to the saint realm in this world, this devil would have already reached the saint realm. What is the origin of this guy? Du Xiaofu asked. Fire Thunderseed really did know the origin of this mysterious middle-aged man. During that calamity, the devil religion was the first. Apart from the great devil's primordial spirit that I suppressed that day, among the 14 devil kings of the devil religion, there were 5 who were even stronger than the great devil. Their birth was related to the current heaven and earth, so they were very difficult to kill. In the end, the Lord of the 3,000 worlds refined the 5 elemental ice blades. Only then were the 5 most difficult devil kings completely killed, Fire Thunderseed said. Du Xiaofu was no longer shocked by this matter. He had already learned from the heavenly wood divine tree of the Feng family that the ruler of the 3,000 worlds had refined 5 elemental ice blades. One of them was wielded by an expert of the golden-winged Great Peng race. What is the relationship between the 5 devil kings and this guy? Du Xiaofu asked. Among the 5 devil kings, there was a demonic fire king. He was completely killed, but even though he was completely killed, it wasn't complete. There was a strand of broken soul left behind. Because the eternal tomb was suppressing the devil god, it didn't completely dissipate. After a long time, it turned into a different type of demonic fire king to reach its current level. Once it reaches the saint realm, it will most likely awaken. At that time, just the rebirth of this demonic fire king would be enough to cause the outside world to sink into a calamity. Fire Thunderseed sighed. Phew. Du Xiaofu was shocked. He didn't expect this mysterious middle-aged man to have such a terrifying origin. He secretly took a deep breath. Is this the opportunity you were talking about? After taking a deep breath, Du Xiaofu looked at the mysterious middle-aged man in front of him. The red-bone horse monkey meridian soul inside his Niwen palace couldn't help but stare at Fire Thunder Seed. Back then, those experts from the ancient era couldn't kill the demonic Fire King. With his current strength, it wasn't hard to imagine that this wasn't an opportunity. It was clearly Fire Thunder Seed tricking him. This demonic Fire King has been reborn, but it isn't the real demonic Fire King. Although your body is strong, those demonic Fire Kings aren't ordinary. Fire Thunder Seed paused and looked at Du Xiaofu. With a serious face, he said, "If your body can be refined in this demonic fire, it will be much easier for you to face those demonic Fire Kings in the future. This is an opportunity, but it is also dangerous. If you can't resist the demonic fire, your body will become its body." Refining the body with the demonic fire is really beneficial? Du Xiaofu hesitated. It was hard for him to completely trust Fire Thunder Seed. Chapter 21-26. There are definitely benefits, but if you can't handle it, then the consequences will be severe, Huale said. Du Xiaofu pondered. He definitely had an irreconcilable grudge with the devil religion. A war was inevitable and unavoidable. If this demonic fire could prevent him from being affected too much when he fought against the devil religion's experts in the future, then he would undoubtedly have some ability to protect himself from the beginning. This was definitely a great opportunity. Will the people outside be fine? Du Xiaofu was worried about his drunkard father, Dongli Qingqing, and the others. As for Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing, Du Xiaofu wasn't worried at all. With Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing's current strength, cultivators below the Saint Realm would definitely be unable to do anything to them. Those strange flaming bodies wouldn't be able to do anything to little Xingxing and Du Xiaoyao. With you here, this demonic fire can't do anything to the people outside, Huale said to Du Xiaofu. Then I'll use this demonic fire to refine my body. Du Xiaofu gritted his teeth. Back then, when he was refining his body in the purple gold Xian bomb, he had resisted it. Although this demonic fire was terrifying, he still had some confidence. If he couldn't resist this demonic fire, then he wouldn't be able to fight against the devil religion's experts in the future. Walala. While Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit was talking with Huale in his mind, the mysterious middle-aged man outside also had some doubts on his face. His face was gloomy as he formed a hand seal, bringing with it a surge of crimson-black flames. Walala. Purple arcs of lightning filled the air, turning into a resplendent electric waterfall that enveloped the surrounding space. It was like an energy barrier of lightning that enveloped Du Xiaofu. However, under Du Xiaofu's control, this purple electric waterfall energy light shield did not completely isolate the surging crimson-black flames from the surroundings. It allowed 10 to 20% of the crimson-black flames to seep through and wrap around his body. Du Xiaofu didn't dare to be careless. He only carefully probed with a portion of the demonic fire to refine his body. Zizi. When the devilish flames surged into his body, they burned his body with scorching heat. Along with the devilish qi that corroded his vitality, they spread throughout his entire body and corroded his nascent soul. It was enough to destroy the body of a peak overlord realm cultivator, and even his nascent soul would find it difficult to escape. This kind of demonic fire tempering was different from the purple gold profound lightning tempering in the purple lightning profound cauldron. The indestructible Shin body was something that could be destroyed and then rebuilt. However, this demonic fire was a corrosive and incinerating type. Although it was extremely hot, it was extremely cold inside the body. Du Xiaofu felt unbearable pain from the demonic fire tempering his body. He clenched his teeth and resisted, guiding the demonic energy to temper his body. If it wasn't for his extraordinary physical body, Du Xiaofu had a feeling that even an ordinary peak overlord realm cultivator or an ordinary peak undying realm cultivator wouldn't be able to withstand the devilish flames. Not to mention that he was only using a portion of the devilish flames to refine his body. Human, do you want to temper your body? I'll fulfill your wish. The mysterious middle-aged man sensed Du Xiaofu's intentions, and his eyes flickered with coldness. As soon as he finished speaking, his body instantly turned into a dazzling translucent crimson-black flame and charged into the sea of flames. Walala. In an instant, As the translucent crimson-black flame charged into the sea of flames, the flames in the surrounding sea of flames immediately increased in intensity. Ancient talismans surged out, and the devilish chi intensified. Its might skyrocketed, and it surged towards the lightning around Du Xiaofu. The sea of flames increased in power, and the pressure on Du Xiaofu increased greatly. Even the lightning barrier couldn't completely withstand the terrifying impact of the devilish flames, and it began to enter a stalemate. It was like a tug of war between the two of them. However, the surging devilish flames increased the pressure on Du Xiaofu, and the impact of the devilish flames on his body grew greater and greater. It seemed to have reached a point where it was difficult to resist. Du Xiaofu's clothes had already been reduced to ashes. His entire body was enveloped by the devilish flames. Under the intense pain, he gritted his teeth and constantly groaned. Strands of crimson-black flames also seeped out from the Naiwan Palace in his mind, wrapping around Du Xiaofu's redbone horse monkey body and origin spirit. Du Xiaofu's origin spirit's redbone horse monkey body sat cross-legged on the divine Lei Lian of 9 revolutions. His eyes were slightly closed, and he seemed rather relaxed. The strands of crimson-black flames even found it difficult to approach Du Xiaofu's origin spirit. Just the arcs of electricity that spread out from the divine Lei Lian of 9 revolutions were enough to fend off many of the crimson-black flames. Du Xiaofu's origin spirit's redbone horse monkey body contained several types of spiritual thunder. It was also refined by the purple gold Xian lightning. The strength of the origin spirit was definitely not below that of the body. The devilish flames that invaded the Naiwan Palace in Du Xiaofu's mind were eventually sucked in by Du Xiaofu's origin spirit. It circulated within the origin spirit's body, and in the end, it was completely wiped out by the various types of spiritual thunder and refined by the devilish flames. Inside the Naiwan Palace, Master Hua Lei's slightly illusory figure revealed a look of surprise. Using the devilish flames to refine one's body and fending off the devilish flames were two different things. In Master Hua Lei's mind, even a true Saint Realm cultivator wouldn't be able to refine their body like this in the devilish flames. The devilish flames were the predecessor of the devilish Fire King. Master Hua Lei knew how terrifying it was. If Du Xiaofu wanted to fend off the devilish flames, his chances of success would be less than 50%. In the end, all he could do was lend a hand. However, Master Hua Lei didn't expect Du Xiaofu to be able to fend it off. Although Du Xiaofu gritted his teeth and endured the pain, he did fend it off. Walala! The sea of crimson-black flames surged to the heavens, surging violently like 1,000 heavy waves. The purple lightning waterfall was surrounded by thunderclouds. It was dazzling, and lightning flashed. It didn't take long for Du Xiaofu to get used to using the devilish flames to refine his body. In the end, the devilish flames could no longer harm his body, and the devilish energy could no longer corrode his body. In this situation, Du Xiaofu simply removed his lightning defense and placed his body in the sea of flames, allowing the devilish flames to wreak havoc. Within the devilish flames, Du Xiaofu's body was crystal clear. It emitted a purple gold light, and the faint sound of wind and thunder rumbled within his body. It was getting easier and easier. Du Xiaofu guided the devilish flames through his body to refine his body. This kind of refinement didn't harm Du Xiaofu at all. Instead, it benefited him greatly. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged in the sea of flames. Purple gold lightning rippled all over his body. Under the refinement of the devilish flames, his body was constantly changing. It was crystal clear, like a purple gold jade. Du Xiaofu was no longer gritting his teeth and snorting coldly. He had completely adapted to it. There was no change in his expression. Only the devilish flames were surging around him, constantly sweeping over. Not long after, Du Xiaofu's body became more and more hazy. He was surrounded by the devilish flames, but his purple gold jade body wasn't covered. It emitted a mist-like divine light. It was dazzling and brilliant. If there were experts here, they would definitely be shocked. This kind of body was too strong. It was comparable to a Saint Realm cultivator. It was rare to see someone who hadn't stepped into the Saint Realm yet with such a body. Inside the monstrous devilish flames, every inch of Du Xiaofu's flesh had been opened and was being refined by the devilish flames, including his internal organs. However, outside of his body, Du Xiaofu's body was shining with purple gold light, protecting his body and spirit. It was as if a god was sitting cross-legged, exuding a kind of transcendental holiness. The devilish flames flowed inside Du Xiaofu's body. They were already under Du Xiaofu's control. In the end, wisps of devilish qi evaporated from Du Xiaofu's body and turned into nothingness. Crackle! Suddenly, in the raging sea of crimson-black flames, a wisp of dazzling flames quietly condensed. It swept out like a black arc of lightning, heading straight for Du Xiaofu's forehead. Boom! At this moment, Du Xiaofu's eyes suddenly opened. Dazzling lightning surged from his eyes. A purple-gold thunderbolt condensed at the tip of his finger, colliding with the dazzling flames. The two collided, and the void shattered. The dazzling crimson-black flames were covered by lightning, and as they retreated, they once again transformed into the mysterious middle-aged man in luxurious crimson-red robes. His face was cold, and he smiled coldly. He stared at Du Xiaofu's body, and his deep black eyes were filled with burning greed. He said, "A perfect body. This is mine." The devilish flames knew that Du Xiaofu was refining. He also had a plan. If he let Du Xiaofu forge, it would help him in the end. Such a body would be enough for him to dominate the world in the future. Huff! Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and felt the changes in his body. He was very satisfied. This devilish flames didn't make his body much stronger, but it would make it a lot easier for him to face people from the devil religion. At this moment, he could clearly feel that the devilish flames were no longer a big hindrance. The devilish energy had less and less effect on him. "I'm afraid you won't be able to get this body." Du Xiaofu looked at the middle-aged man. His eyes were filled with confidence as lightning fluctuated. "Okay, it's about time. Leave it to me." At the same time, Master Hualei spoke from Du Xiaofu's Niwen Palace. His voice became melodious and ancient. When Master Hualei's voice fell, a wisp of crimson-blue flames flew out from Du Xiaofu's forehead and turned into a human form beside Du Xiaofu. The middle-aged man in the red robe looked at Master Hualei, who suddenly appeared. It was unknown if he felt something, but his deep eyes fluctuated. "So there is someone helping you. Unfortunately, it's useless." The middle-aged man's face was gloomy. He waved his sleeves and slightly clenched his fist. The sea of flames around him began to surge. "Your body has already adapted to me. Now that I have obtained it, it will fuse perfectly with me. No one can stop me from leaving this cage. Anyone who stops me will die." As soon as his voice fell, the middle-aged man suddenly raised his hand and viciously slapped at Master Hualei and Du Xiaofu. As his palm fell, a wave of devilish flames that was several hundred feet wide suddenly surged. The terrifying temperature and devilish energy reached its peak. It turned into a devilish flame claw that wanted to envelop Master Hualei and Du Xiaofu at the same time. When this kind of claw fell, the void shattered inch by inch. The runes and devilish flames were like crimson-black fireworks that contained a destructive power. "Even your predecessor didn't dare to be so arrogant in front of me. What qualifications do you have?" An ancient and melodious voice came from Master Hualei's mouth. A monstrous crimson-blue flame rushed out from his body. Boom! As the scarlet-blue flame rushed out, it caused the void to tremble and resonate with it. Its aura was ancient, desolate, and destructive. Along with the vast and surging scarlet-blue lightning, a terrifying wave appeared. With a faint sound of thunder, it directly swept towards the scarlet-black flame claw print. Chi, chi, chi. The crimson-blue flame contained a power that could destroy all life. It caused the devilish flame claw to shatter inch by inch until it reached the middle-aged man. "How could this be? Who the hell are you?" At this moment, the middle-aged man's expression changed greatly as if he felt something. Fear surged out from the depths of his eyes. "It's over. I can't let a demonic creature like you exist in this world anymore." Master Hualei opened his mouth. When his voice came out, a bright crimson-blue lightning shot out from his mouth and rushed into the sky. It instantly spread in the sky and turned into a giant crimson-blue lightning vortex. Runes intertwined, and the crimson-blue vortex was like a terrifying beast that opened its mouth. A terrifying, devouring force erupted and devoured the crimson-black flame. Crash, crash, crash. The crimson-black flame surged and set off monstrous waves of fire. Demonic energy filled the sky and erupted with a terrifying power that shattered the void. However, it couldn't break free from Master Hua Lei's devouring force. The middle-aged man's expression completely changed. His face was filled with horror. He tried his best to stop it, but it was to no avail. Devour me? Don't even think about it. The middle-aged man's figure rushed out. His body charged out of the sea of fire like lightning. He clenched his fists, and a black-red fist smashed out. Blazing demonic chi suddenly appeared and ruthlessly charged toward Hua Lei. Master Hua Lei's face sank. He didn't care too much and quietly formed a seal with his hand. A crimson-blue lightning bolt shot out and turned into a hand seal. It fiercely collided with the lightning and thunder. Bang, 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 bang. Such a collision caused the void to rumble. The surrounding spatial ripples, lightning arcs, and flames immediately swept out like stormy waves. The entire sea of flames in the void howled at this moment, turning into arcs of solid energy that dissipated in the sky. It was as if many volcanoes had exploded at the same time. You overestimate yourself. Master Hua Lei's melodious voice was filled with disdain. The moment he finished speaking, he waved his hand and a bright crimson-blue flame appeared under the lightning. It was crystal clear and dazzling. Runes intertwined and condensed into a long spear. With a thunderous momentum, it directly shot toward the middle-aged man's forehead. No, the middle-aged man's eyes were already filled with fear. Before he could finish speaking, his body was destroyed. It turned into a bright crimson-black flame that exploded and was devoured by the vortex. Crash, crash, crash. The vast sea of fire covered the sky, but in the end, it was all devoured by Master Hua Lei. When the last wisp of crimson-black flame was devoured by the vortex, it turned into a bright crimson-blue lightning bolt and returned to Master Hua Lei's body. Master Hua Lei couldn't help but stretch his body. He felt very comfortable. Du Xiaofu watched all of this from the side and was completely stunned. Du Xiaofu had personally experienced the strength of the demonic flame. Although he wasn't afraid of it, even if he used his full strength, it would still be difficult for him to completely destroy the demonic flame. However, Master Hua Lei had actually devoured the demonic flame so easily. It seemed that after devouring the demonic flame, he had also obtained a great benefit. Master Hua Lei, you came to find the demonic flame on purpose, didn't you? You want to devour the demonic flame. Du Xiaofu looked at Master Hua Lei and understood. Master Hua Lei clearly wanted to devour the demonic flame to obtain benefits. He purposely left the Moon Saint, Fengqi Saint, and the others aside and brought him here. Chapter 21-27. This demonic fire has some benefits for me. Hua Lei stared at Du Xiaofu. He had no intention of hiding anything. He glanced at Du Xiaofu and said, "But I didn't lie to you. This demonic fire has indeed given you a lot of benefits. You didn't lose out." Du Xiaofu's mouth twitched. He really couldn't refute Hua Lei's words. He had indeed gained some benefits, but without a doubt, he had been cheated by Hua Lei. "All right, we've wasted some time here. Let's hurry up," Hua Lei said to Du Xiaofu. As soon as he finished speaking, his body turned into a bright red-blue flame. Amidst the ripples of electricity, he directly entered Du Xiaofu's Naiwen Palace. Du Xiaofu was a bit sullen, but there was nothing he could do. The primordial spirit of the red-bone horse monkey in his Naiwen Palace asked Hua Lei, who had just entered, "How much have you recovered?" "I'm still not at my peak. This world has been sealed by the 3,000 great worlds. It's hard for people like us to recover to our peak. But now, the situation is much better. Even if we meet that great demon, we don't have to avoid it." Hua Lei's voice came from the crystal-clear red-blue flame. Du Xiaofu's eyes moved. From the way Hua Lei swallowed the demonic fire, this old guy should have recovered a lot. "Hua Lei, listen carefully. If I encounter danger, don't think you'll have a good time." Du Xiaofu snorted at Master Hua Lei. Master Hua Lei had recovered a lot, and his strength seemed to have increased a lot. However, Du Xiaofu was still afraid that he would be tricked by Master Hualei again. He would be in big trouble if Master Hualei didn't pay any attention to him if he encountered a sage expert. I won't let you die. I am your ancestor. You are my descendant. Hualei's voice was melodious and serious. I am your ancestor. Du Xiaofu rolled his eyes. This old geezer was really getting more and more addicted. He kept calling him patriarch. This was clearly taking advantage of him after tricking him. Brat, you are committing the crime of destroying your ancestors. How dare you disrespect your ancestors? Master Fire Lightning roared. Du Xiaofu grinned and said, What do you have to prove that you're my ancestor? Do you think my Du family's ancestor is a ball of fire? Do you think I'm stupid? The Fire Thunder Seed was a bit flustered and exasperated. The red and blue electric flames fluctuated as he said, Brat, back then, even your ancestors didn't dare to talk to me like this. You better not beg me in the future. Humph. Now, you are the one begging me for martial veins and spiritual lightning to help you recover. If you have a temper, you can just leave. Du Xiaofu said. He could see that the Fire Thunder Seed had recovered a lot, but Du Xiaofu also wanted to confirm whether or not the Fire Thunder Seed still needed his martial vein and spirit thunder. That way, he wouldn't be tricked by the old man again. The Fire Thunder Seed was speechless. Although he had recovered a lot, he still needed Du Xiaofu's help. Without Du Xiaofu's thunder veins and spiritual lightning, he wouldn't be able to recover quickly. When he met that great demon, he wouldn't be able to take advantage of it. He might even be at a disadvantage. Ignoring the angry Fire Thunder Seed, Du Xiaofu took out a new set of purple robes from his Qinkuan bag and put them on. His original clothes were all burned away by the demonic fire. When Du Xiaofu left this space and appeared in the outside world, those red and black skeletons and strange flames had already disappeared. Du Tingxian, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and Dongli Qingqing were all worried. After seeing Du Xiaofu, they finally relaxed. Are you okay? Dongli Qingqing went up and asked. Seeing that Du Xiaofu was fine and that his aura was fine, she finally relaxed. Du Xiaofu smiled at Dongli Qingqing and shook his head. He told her about the demonic fire in the space, but he didn't mention the Fire Thunder Seed. It's time to go back. Let's go. The Fire Thunder Seed's ancient and melodious voice came out from Du Xiaofu's Naiwan Palace. His face suddenly became serious. According to the route that the Fire Thunder Seed had secretly given them, Du Xiaofu brought Dongli Qingqing, Du Tingxian, and the others to continue their journey. In this vast space, the demonic qi was getting thicker and thicker. Along the way, they encountered many demonic beasts. There were even evil spirits that were extremely powerful. However, not to mention Du Xiaoyao and Little Xingxing, Dongli Qingqing, Du Tingxian, Lian Qingrong, Dongli Ruoshu, and the two elders of the Fangji clan were all extraordinary. Therefore, along the way, they were scared but not in danger. They fought several times and broke through the encirclement. However, the most serious time was when Du Xiaofu and the others encountered a large group of demonic beasts. The leader was the strongest demonic beast, which was almost comparable to a Saint Realm expert. In this battle, Lian Qingrong, Dongli Ruoshu, and the two elders of the Fangji clan were all injured. Dongli Qingqing and Du Tingxian were almost exhausted. Du Xiaoyao and Little Xingxing were in a better situation. Du Xiaofu used the golden rock wings, the purple gold heavenly tower, and the thunder martial vein. After a fierce battle, he finally killed the strongest demonic beast. This battle forced everyone to stop and rest. Du Xiaofu used the ancient desolate space to save time. After everyone recovered, they continued their journey. In the vast space, the demonic qi was floating in the air. The temperature in the air had started to become cold. This cold spirit was silent and penetrated the void. There was no trace of it at all. There was no frost or cold wind in the sky. However, it was this cold spirit that made even Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoshu, and Du Tingxian shiver. They could only return to normal by using their qi to resist. This strange cold spirit made it impossible for ordinary people to set foot in it. Even cultivators with lower cultivation could not get close to it. Among everyone, Lian Qingrong had the lowest cultivation. However, At this moment, she was the least affected by this strange cold spirit. She was the descendant of the Great Snow Mountain. Her cultivation method was related to ice. Therefore, she was the least affected by this strange cold spirit. Everyone had encountered many dangerous situations here. At this moment, when they felt this strange cold spirit, they were all waiting with rapt attention. They did not dare to be careless. Whoosh! A ferocious bird of more than 10 feet in size flapped its wings. Its speed was as fast as lightning. Its whole body was covered with snow-like scales. It looked like it was made of ice. With a terrible cold spirit, accompanied by the demonic Qi, it pounced on Du Xiaofu and the others. Buzz! Dongli Qingqing made her move. Her hands formed a seal. A green energy arrow pierced through the space from her hands. Accompanied by the sound of wind and thunder, it killed the ferocious bird of ice. Everyone continued to move forward. Not long after, the ground began to be covered with snow. The ground was white and the mountains were covered with ice. Icicles were suspended on the rocks. From afar, it looked like a vast glacier. Chapter 21-28. White snow covered the ground, illuminating everyone. Demonic Qi lingered in the air, casting shadows on the white snow. Everyone, be careful. Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. For such a place to appear in the eternal tomb, there was no doubt that it was not normal. He did not know what kind of danger would appear. Creak! The soles of their feet landed on the snow, creating creaking sounds. Under the white snow, there were many ghastly white bones. Their light was dim, no different from ordinary bones. Qi! Snow covered the ground. White light flashed. A bolt of white light shot out from the void like lightning, arriving in front of everyone in an instant. A strange icy Qi swept out, freezing one's primordial spirit and causing one's hair to stand on end. Du Xiaofu made his move. With a shake of his purple robe, a purple flame rushed out from his claw, blocking the white light. The heat melted the ice, and the purple flame runes bloomed like fireworks. But under the brilliance, there was destruction. Then, everything returned to normal. Qi. Right when the purple flames that were like fireworks calmed down, a fluctuation arose in space, and then an enormous beast body that was over 1 kilometer long suddenly flashed out from within it. Roar! A low and deep beast roar resounded across the empty space of the glacier. That several thousand feet large body suddenly collapsed like a moving iceberg. Bright white light shone as a wild and violent icy aura froze the empty space. Before anyone could see it clearly, a huge beast claw had already shattered the empty space. It included everyone present as it ruthlessly pressed down. Du Xiaofu was at the front. He raised his head slightly, and his hand seals had already been formed. His feet touched the ground, and golden light surged from the soles of his feet. However, it did not leave any trace on the white snow. Instead of retreating, he moved forward. At the same time, the last hand seal was formed. A palm print was pushed out, and in an instant, purple flames erupted, condensing into a purple flame palm print. An unparalleled heat swept through the void, melting the ice and snow. Qi! Within the purple flame palm print, talismans intertwined, and a huge purple flame demon phoenix appeared in the air. Bam! The two palms fiercely collided with each other with the force of thunder. Icy cold and blazing heat overlapped, and a thunderous, muffled sound of energy resounded from the point of collision. Runes filled the sky, and frost and purple flames were obliterated. The earth rumbled, and the mountains and rivers cracked. Large amounts of snow melted in an instant, revealing the decaying earth. It was a stretch of desolation, and dense white bones were broken. Under the cover of white snow, white bones were everywhere. Qi. Low in the air, Du Xiaofu's figure staggered back. His palm was covered in a thin layer of frost, and the most terrifying thing was that there was demonic Qi on the frost. Rumble. The huge beast's body was continuously pushed back. Where its feet landed, the earth cracked. It was pushed back more than 10 steps, covering a distance of thousands of feet. Finally, it hit a huge ice mountain, shaking the ice mountain. White snow poured down like an avalanche, and only then did it stabilize its body. This scene shocked Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoshu, and the others. Only then did the crowd get a clear look at the enormous beast's body. It was like a bear or an ape, and its fur was as white as snow. Its robust body gave off a feeling of explosive power. However, its enormous pair of ominous eyes were pitch black and frightening. The fluctuations of demonic qi caused the hearts of those who looked at it to tremble. Roar! The giant beast steadied its body and stared at Du Xiaofu with its ferocious eyes. It let out a roar of anger as its ferocious fangs bared in its bloody maw. Its aura shook the surrounding ice mountains, causing snow to pour down like an avalanche. This is the Ice Blast Ape Bear. In ancient times, my sect used to have many experts from the Ice Blast Ape Bear tribe. Unfortunately, the Ice Blast Ape Bear tribe has disappeared and no longer exists in this world. Lien Qingrong said. Frost loomed around his white battle suit. He looked at the Ice Blast Ape Bear tribe that was thousands of feet away, and his eyes were filled with sorrow. He was the last descendant of the Great Snow Mountain, and his responsibility was to revive the Great Snow Mountain. However, as talented as he was, he had a good reputation in the world. He knew very well that he had a place among the younger generation of the world, but wanting to revive the Great Snow Mountain with his own strength was undoubtedly a pipe dream. Reviving the Great Snow Mountain was not something that could be done overnight. Lien Qingrong knew very well that it was not something that could be done with his own strength. Therefore, under the circumstances and various considerations, he joined the barren country and became the country's guardian venerable. As far as he could see, Lien Qingrong had never regretted his choice. In fact, he even felt lucky. Hearing Lien Qingrong's words, an elder expert from the Fangji family said, "This Ice Blast Ape Bear has been affected by the demonic qi. It has lost its nature, and only its instinctive ferocity and killing are left. This thing doesn't seem to be weak." Du Xiaoyao's golden spiritual eyes glowed. Although Du Xiaofu had the upper hand just now, he had been forced to retreat. It was enough to show that the Ice Blast Ape Bear was not easy to deal with. Roar! As Du Xiaoyao's voice fell, the huge Ice Blast Ape Bear roared ferociously. Its huge body shook the earth, and it pounced on the crowd again. Its huge paw slammed down. Wang! Dongli Qingqing looked up, and a flash of sharpness flashed across her clear eyes. She summoned the Tai-Ching demon subduing bow, and a terrifying demonic qi swept out. Light shone brightly. In an instant, the bow was fully drawn, and an arrow pierced through the space. Qi. The arrow shone brightly, reflecting the snowy mountains and glaciers. A pitch-black space crack swallowed the light, distorted the void, and collided with the palm like lightning. When the arrow collided with the palm, it was frozen by the cold qi and turned into ice shards. In the end, only a small section of the green arrow penetrated the Ice Blast Ape Bear's palm. However, this did not stop the Ice Blast Ape Bear from moving forward. In the ferocious roar, demonic qi surged in its ferocious eyes. It was ferocious and murderous. The bloody palm clenched into a fist and slammed down like a meteorite. The cold qi froze everything. Oomph! A slightly childish snort came from little Xingxing's mouth. Little Xingxing's small body was like an ant in front of an elephant, but the punch that was instantly covered by the golden flames was so hot that it could burn the sky. Its might was even greater than the former's. Bam! The two of them collided. The small fist collided with the meteorite-like fist, emitting a bright light. Golden flames and frost filled the sky, and a large area of space collapsed inch by inch. Thump! Thump! Little Xingxing's small body fell back to the ground at a low altitude. He took a few steps back and steadied himself. Chapter 21-29. Translator. H2DH2 Mr. The huge Ice Blast Ape Bear was pushed back, the ice on its fist melting and covered in golden flames, leaving charred marks. The golden flames on little Xingxing's body seemed to be able to suppress all ice, causing the Ice Blast Ape Bear to suffer. "Let's end this quickly," Du Xiaofu shouted softly. By the time the last word left his mouth, his figure had already appeared in front of the huge Ice Blast Ape Bear like a ghost. Lightning flashed in his hand, and in the midst of the thunder and lightning, he threw a punch, bringing with it the power of thunder and lightning. Boom, boom. Golden light surged and her golden clothes fluttered. Du Xiaoyao appeared in front of the Ice Blast Ape Bear and threw out a punch. The fist carried with it a faint glow, as if the world had just been created. A terrifying aura erupted from the fist, and an inexplicable pressure threatened to explode one's primordial spirit, spreading in all directions and suppressing everything. Little Xingxing, Du Xiaofu, and Du Xiaoyao joined forces to attack the Ice Blast Ape Bear. Every step here was dangerous, and fighting alone would consume too much energy. The three of them had already achieved perfect teamwork. Not long after, the Ice Blast Ape Bear was suppressed by Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and Du Xiaofu's combined attacks. In the end, it was burned to ashes by the golden flames on Little Xingxing's body. The vast land around them showed signs of decay in the scorching heat. The icebergs melted and the snow melted. The two elders from the Fangji family were dumbfounded. That Frostburst Ape Bear was very close to the Saint Plain, but it was easily defeated by Du Xiaofu and the other two. Moreover, the three of them didn't even use all of their trump cards. If the three of them joined forces, they would definitely be able to put up a fight against a true Saint Realm expert. This place is too eerie, Dongli Qingqing suddenly spoke, looking at the land and mountains that had been melted by the great battle. At this moment, an endless stream of icy air began to seep out of the void, and a snowstorm the size of goose feathers floated in the sky. The land was once again covered in snow, and the messy mountain peaks slowly froze into glaciers. Everything seemed to be returning to its original state. Let's leave this place quickly. Du Xiaofu's expression turned serious as he led the group on their way. Stepping on the snow, they flew at a low altitude. Everyone displayed their figures and flew across the snowy land like rainbows. Walala! The sky fluctuated, and white snow drifted down like goose feathers. It was enough to obscure one's line of sight. The icy chi became denser and denser, obstructing the group's advance and slowing them down. Awoo! From the goose feather-like white snow, there was a figure that was no less than 10 feet tall. Its entire body was snow-white, and it was covered in snow-white fur. It looked like a human and an ape, and it roared like a beast, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. These several zhang tall figures seemed to be able to soar into the heavens and dive into the earth amidst the white snow. They pounced towards Du Xiaofu and the others. What the hell is this? Kill! Little Xingxing threw out a punch and smashed a figure into smithereens. This is a snow monster. Lian Xingrong told everyone that there were records of such snow monsters in the ancient books left behind by the lineage of the Great Snow Mountain. With a serious expression, Lian Xingrong continued to remind everyone, these snow monsters are very strange. They will come out in groups, and I'm afraid there will be an endless number of them. The more we kill, the more there will be. Awoo! Just as Lian Xingrong said, dense snow monsters pounced out of the snow. They were everywhere and densely covered the ground, leaving no way for everyone to escape. They roared and pounced at everyone. Another problem. Du Xiaofu frowned. These snow monsters were not as strong as the Ice Blast Ape Bear, but every one of them was at the honorable realm. Some of the stronger ones were at the domain realm. Occasionally, there would even be a few powerful beings who were not at the peak of the main domain realm. They could not be killed, and this was quite troublesome. Rumble, Du Tingxian, Dongli Ruoshu, Dongli Qingqing, Du Xiaoyao, and Little Xingxing attacked and shattered a large number of snow monsters. However, the snow monsters were endless, and they could not kill all of them along the way. The snow monsters had already blocked their path, and there was no way for them to retreat. Hualezi, do you have any ideas? Du Xiaofu asked Hualezi. If this continued, even if the snow monsters could not hurt them, they would be exhausted to death. This is a path that we must pass. Only by passing through here can we reach the main tomb of the Eternal Tomb, Hualezi said to Du Xiaofu. Then, he seemed to have thought of something. His round face appeared, and his figure condensed in Du Xiaofu's Naiwan Palace. His expression turned serious, and he said, I remember now. There seems to be a human who is not weak guarding the entrance to the main tomb. If he is also affected by the demon god, then it will be troublesome. Then what do we do now? You are the one who led the way. Du Xiaofu was depressed when he heard that. Hualaizi's guidance had caused them a lot of trouble. There are a total of 13 entrances to the main tomb, and each entrance is guarded by a powerful cultivator. If all of them are affected by the demon god, then none of the paths will be easy. Hualaizi sighed and continued to speak to Du Xiaofu. Right now, you can only enter this place. As long as you pass through this place, the danger will be solved. I have no other choice. Then let's go. Du Xiaofu's expression was extremely gloomy. As the sound of his voice faded, golden light flashed behind him as the golden wings of the great rock spread out. A tyrannical aura swept through the air, crushing all the snow monsters that pounced towards him before they could even get close to him. The weaker snow monsters were all crushed into pieces before they could even get close. Kill. Du Xiaofu's rock's golden wings flapped. The purple flame demonic phoenix and the golden rock's beast abilities were used alternately, and a large number of snow monsters were killed. Kill. Seeing this, everyone attacked at the same time. They followed closely behind Du Xiaofu and attacked with all their might. Numerous figures burst out without holding back. They charged into the snow monsters with an unstoppable force, opening up a path for them. Facing Du Xiaofu and the others, a large number of snow monsters exploded and turned into snowflakes. They opened up a path for them. However, there were too many snow monsters. They were densely packed together, and it was impossible to kill them all. Cold chi swept across, and demonic chi filled the air. Snow monsters rushed out from the front without fear of death, blocking everyone's path. Du Xiaofu and the others could only force their way through. Most of the snow monsters were only at the honorable realm, and they were not worth mentioning to any of them. However, there were too many of them. When they gathered together, they formed an extremely terrifying aura. The cold ice froze the void, and the demonic chi was frightening. The further they went, the stronger the snow monsters were. Everyone had to use all their strength to deal with them. No one dared to be careless, and they continued to exhaust their strength. We can't go on like this. Du Tingxian was surrounded by lightning, and his body was also covered with a lightning armor. The consumption of his strength was too great, and it would be extremely dangerous if they continued. Once the dark chi in everyone's body was exhausted, they would be in big trouble. We can only end this if we break through. Du Xiaofu frowned. This place was strange, and they had no other choice but to break through. Rumble. The void rumbled, and everyone used all their strength to force their way through. After more than an hour, two huge ice mountains stood tall, like two dragons with their heads held high. They rushed into the depths of the clouds, and cold chi could be seen spreading in the sky. That seems to be the end. Du Xiaoyao looked up, and his golden spiritual eyes shone. In front of the ice mountains was the end of the snow monsters. Hearing this, everyone looked from afar, and they saw hope. Kill. Everyone gave it their all, and no longer held back. With an unstoppable momentum, they destroyed all the snow monsters along the way and rushed straight to the ice peak. The closer they got to the end, the stronger the snow monsters became. In the end, many snow monsters were close to the peak of the Master Realm. There were so many of them that even Du Xiaofu, Little Xingxing, and Du Xiaoyao had to be careful. Du Xiaofu could not help but feel fortunate that he had not allowed anyone else from the desolate country to enter. There were many sovereigns in the desolate country, but they had not truly matured to the point where they could stand on their own. According to Master Huele, the path to the main tomb would not be simple if they entered the Tomb of Eternity. Under such danger, there probably would not be many cultivators below the Master Realm who could successfully make it through. The desolate country would not be able to bear the losses then. Kill. Du Xiaofu, Little Xingxing, and Du Xiaoyao were the strongest. They destroyed a large number of the strongest snow monsters, and they gradually approached the huge ice mountains. Bang! A snow monster that was comparable to a half-saint was destroyed by Du Xiaofu's lightning. It flapped its wings and shattered the space there. It shot out and appeared before them. The surroundings suddenly turned quiet. Du Xiaofu's gaze landed on a small square, and in front of him was the towering ice mountain. It was unknown how long it had been in the eternal tomb, and it exuded an ancient aura. Swish, swish, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Dongli Qingqing, and Du Tingxian all charged out once again. As the snow monsters exploded, They landed beside Du Xiaofu. Everyone's faces were pale and exhausted. Roar! Behind them, the densely packed snow monsters roared and bared their fangs and claws, causing the space to rumble. However, for some reason, they did not set foot in the small square before the ice mountains. Have we reached the end? An elder from the Fengji family heaved a sigh of relief. He took a deep breath, and a green light spread out from his body. It carried a kind of life force, and the celestial qi he had consumed was quickly recovering. Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoshu, and another elder from the Fengji family did the same. The green light on their bodies fluctuated as they recovered their celestial qi. Among them, Dongli Qingqing recovered the fastest. Du Tingxian and Lian Qingrong had many pills in their hands. They stuffed them into their mouths. Only then did they look up at the towering ice mountains in front of them. They were shocked. That seems to be the exit, little Xingxing said in surprise. There was an ancient stone door between the two huge ice mountains. It was not covered by ice, and there were ancient runes carved on it. It seems to be the entrance. Dongli Qingqing's gaze also fell on the ancient stone door. She was surprised. The snow monsters behind them did not dare to step in. They had reached the end. Chapter 21:30. I'm afraid we're not done yet. Look over there. Du Xiaoyao shook her head. Her golden spirit eyes gaze landed on an ice platform beside the stone door. There was a figure sitting cross-legged there. An icy aura that was hard to detect with the naked eye lingered around his body, permeating the air. Everyone followed Du Xiaoyao's gaze. The figure sitting cross-legged was old. His eyes were tightly shut, and his silver hair reached his shoulders. The white robe on his body had faded to a grayish-white color over the years. In front of him, there was a snake spear that was 8 feet tall. It was ancient and white like jade and ice, and it was embedded into the ground. The man and the spear had quietly stood there for an unknown amount of time. The more the crowd looked, the more they felt that a terrifying aura was awakening within the man and the spear. It slowly spread out, as if Mount Tai was pressing down on them. Her clear eyes stared intently at the figure sitting cross-legged and the seemingly ordinary but ancient snake spear. Her clear eyes seemed to be thinking about something. Walala! A woo! Behind the crowd, the densely packed snow monsters that were constantly roaring suddenly began to disperse on their own. They turned into ice and snow that filled the sky, and all of them exploded in a strange and shocking manner. When the last snow monster exploded on its own, at the same time, the old figure sitting cross-legged in front of the ancient stone door opened his eyes. There was a black and blood-red color in his eyes. Creak! The old figure's body wriggled. His bones were like machines that had not moved for a long time, and there was a cracking sound of bones rubbing against each other. He held the snake spear in front of him with one hand and stood up. In an instant, a terrifying icy aura and demonic aura swept through the air at the same time, rushing into the depths of the sky. A saint powerhouse. When the old man stood up, Du Xiaoyao, little Xingxing, and the rest's eyes rippled at the same time. Their bodies trembled slightly, and the expressions on their faces quietly turned serious. The aura on that figure could not escape their senses. It was the aura of a saint. That was definitely a saint powerhouse. Not good. This expert seems to be affected as well. Dongli Qingqing had a serious look in her eyes. That Saint Realm expert was obviously affected by a kind of demonization. He's not an ordinary Saint Realm expert. This is going to be troublesome. Du Xiaofu frowned. He could sense a presence from the old figure that definitely surpassed Qin Yanlong, Long Qianchao, and the others. It was probably on par with the Moon Saint and Xiangu. It might even be slightly stronger. Such an expert had obviously been demonized at this moment, and no one present could do anything about it. Du Xiaofu knew that it would be difficult for him to fight against it. Fire lightning, what do we do now? We're in trouble. When Du Xiaofu felt the old man's aura, he immediately went to find fire lightning. Only fire lightning would be able to resist it. As I expected, he's also affected by the devil god. It's going to be troublesome. Fire Thunder's figure appeared in Du Xiaofu's Mud Pill Palace. He frowned and said to Du Xiaofu seriously, "It's not a big problem for me to help you deal with the trouble in front of you. However, with my current situation, I'm afraid that I can only help once. When we enter the main tomb, I'm afraid that it will be more dangerous. Think about it carefully. This, Du Xiaofu had an impulse to go crazy. Fire Thunder could only help once. This was his biggest trump card. If he used it now, he would have no backup in case something more dangerous happened in the main tomb. Moreover, the Devil King of the Devil religion, Qin Yanlong, and the others were there. He had to be careful. If we can break through, then we should be able to enter the main tomb directly. Fire Thunder's voice sounded in Du Xiaofu's mind. Du Xiaofu's face was very serious. If everyone had the strength to deal with the Saint Realm expert in front of them, they would not have to be afraid of Qin Yanlong and the others outside. Whoosh! Cold Qi and Devil Qi intertwined. The silver-haired old man looked at Du Xiaofu and the others. His black and blood-red eyes were cold and empty. However, compared to the Ice Blast Ape Bear and the snow monsters along the way, there was more emotion in his eyes. What should we do now? Little Star, who was not afraid of anything, looked at the silver-haired old man with a serious look on his young face. He looked very old and experienced. I'm afraid there's no way out. Let's fight together, Du Xiaoyao said. His tone was relaxed. However, he secretly clenched his fists and frowned slightly. Buzz. Hearing this, Dongli Ruoshu's handsome face also showed a faint wry smile. The green light in his eyes trembled. Suddenly, there were bright talisman patterns in his body that began to flow like liquid. They were dazzling and emitted a divine power from ancient times. Accompanied by the sound of wind and thunder, they finally turned into pieces of green armor. The talisman patterns flickered like tree rings. They were filled with an ancient and frightening pressure. The heavenly wood meridian divine armor was activated. Dongli Qingqing frowned. The green light fluctuated. She also held the Taiqing demon subduing bow tightly in her hand. Her aura was like that of a demon awakening. Whoosh! When Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu's aura fluctuated, the silver-haired old man's eyes immediately stared at the two of them. A murderous intent shot out from his black and blood-red eyes. A terrifying aura swept out in an instant. In the next moment, his figure had disappeared. Be careful. The moment the silver-haired old man disappeared, Du Xiaofu's face darkened. Whoosh! The speed was too fast. When the silver-haired old man's figure reappeared, he was already in front of Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu. His blood-red eyes were surging with murderous intent. Dongli Qingqing's face changed greatly. She drew the Taiqing demon subduing bow and shot an arrow. The heavenly wood meridian divine armor on Dongli Ruoshu's body erupted. The void in front of her trembled strangely and quickly. It turned into a huge green light palm print. Its aura was full of vitality, but it made people feel a sense of desolation and destruction from the depths of their souls. It slapped toward the silver-haired old man. Wherever the palm print passed, the space collapsed, revealing a pitch-black spatial hole. The green light diffused, reflecting a terrifying afterglow in the void. With the cultivation and strength of Dongli Ruoshu and Dongli Qingqing, at this moment, when they joined forces, even the cultivation of a half-saint expert would have to avoid them. But the silver-haired old man was not moved at all. The 8-feet-long snake spear in his hand burst out bright ice talisman patterns. It streaked across the void, and a vast icy air swept through the void, freezing everything. Whoosh! Dongli Qingqing's arrow and Dongli Ruoshu's handprint were destroyed in an instant. A gust of terrifying icy qi rushed out and engulfed Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu's bodies in a crushing manner. Puff! Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu spat out blood from their mouths. Their bodies were shaken and fell heavily on the ground. The ground was unusual. It only shook and was destroyed. There were no cracks or deep pits because of the two. Boom! Almost at the same time, golden light shone brightly. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. The green light shone brightly. Golden flames surged to the sky. As Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu were shaken, other than Lian Qingrong, Du Xiaofu, Little Star, Du Xiaoyao, and Du Tingxian all came together to help. They besieged the silver-haired old man. The silver-haired old man's eyes surged with killing intent. The 8-feet-long snake spear in his hand burst out a sharp light. Frost filled the sky, and the space cracked. Bang, bang, Bang! Several figures collided in an instant. The figures flickered and appeared. Light burst out, and talisman patterns intertwined. The void was crumbling inch by inch. The shocking sound of energy colliding resounded in the small square. Puff! In an instant, two elders of the Fangji family vomited blood and fell. Whoosh! Du Tingshuan's thunder armor was covered with ice and snow. The spear in his hand was shaken, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Whoosh! For figures flashed low in the sky. Light filled the sky. A large area of the void crumbled inch by inch, and cracks appeared on the indestructible ground. In an instant, three figures were shaken off and fell to the ground. Bang, bang, bang. Three figures smashed the square. They were Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, and Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, and Du Xiaofu stood up. There was a faint trace of blood at the corner of their mouths. Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu stood up. There was blood at the corner of their mouths. They had suffered heavy injuries from just a simple collision. There was a mysterious aura fluctuating in their bodies. They were full of vitality and were recovering from their injuries. Too strong. Dongli Qingqing and Dongli Ruoshu did not step forward. They knew that they were no match for the old man. Even Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, and Little Xingxing were injured. That silver-haired old man was too strong to deal with. Du Xiaofu, Little Xingxing, and Du Xiaoyao looked at each other with serious expressions. The three figures stood in a triangular formation. Roar! Without any hesitation, Du Xiaoyao and Little Xingxing activated their true forms. The red-bone horse monkey and the mutated dragon stood upright. Golden light shone brightly and raging flames filled the sky. Gee! Around Du Xiaofu, a strange rune soared into the sky at the same time. Golden light bloomed. In an instant, golden feathers formed on the surface of his body. They were like the feathers of a golden-winged rock. Layers of feathers grew out from his body and condensed into a magnificent golden armor that covered his entire body. There was a faint cry of a golden-winged rock. It pierced through the clouds and cracked the stones. An overbearing aura swept through the void. Golden light erupted, radiating resplendent rays of golden light. Clad in golden armor, Du Xiaofu's golden rock wings unfurled behind his back. The two of them were one with the heavens, as if they were connected to his flesh and bones, causing the void to tremble. Du Xiaofu directly activated the azure spirit armor. The rock wings behind him condensed the power of 36 true rock feathers. It was magnificent in the sky and had a vast aura. At this moment, the three of them were prepared for battle and utilized their full strength. With the current state of Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and Du Xiaofu, even a true Saint Realm expert would absolutely not dare be careless when facing them. Qi. However, the silver-haired old man did not stop. There was only killing intent in his black and blood-red eyes. The brilliant and cold snake spear in his hand spread out ancient runes. He stabbed it straight at Du Xiaoyao. Chapter 21:31. Roar. Rumble. Du Xiaoyao's golden spirit eyes looked down. With a roar that shook the heavens and earth, his innate spirit eyes looked down on everything in the world. In the void above, heavenly music continued. The power of inaction nirvana was activated, and a divine ring appeared in the sky. Suddenly, he punched out, and the void sank. Qi. The snake spear pierced through the air, piercing through the void and piercing Du Xiaoyao's fist. A wisp of blood shot out from Du Xiaoyao's fist, and the power of inaction nirvana dimmed. Boom! At this moment, Du Xiaoyao's red-bone horse monkey body transformed into a huge, five-fingered mountain. Dense spiritual energy spread out in an instant, connecting with the energy of heaven and earth. A terrifying power spread out, blocking the snake spear. Towering sparks shot out, and talisman patterns intertwined like a rising sun. Roar! The dragon's roar resounded through this space. Little Xingxing came to his rescue, and his phoenix wings expanded to 100 feet. 7 colored flames filled the sky, and it could affect the cold ice in the void. Starlight flowed on the surface of his body, and his dragon claws tore through the void. The divine ring behind him appeared in the sky, and the void boiled and collapsed inch by inch. Roar! Du Xiaofu's figure floated like a god, and the purple-gold heavenly fault in his hand erupted. Birds and turtles cried, dragons and tigers roared, and the sword light overflowed the sky and slashed down. With little Xing Xing and Du Xiaofu attacking with all their strength, the silver-haired old man instinctively didn't dare to be indifferent. The snake's spear let out a rumbling sound and was pulled back from the golden five-fingered mountain. His hand seals condensed, and a monstrous cold air appeared in the void and gathered in an instant, turning into a huge, spinning ball of ice. When the ball of ice appeared, the void trembled, and a bone-chilling cold air filled the sky. A terrifying energy wave spread out from it, and the surrounding space collapsed inch by inch, revealing huge circles of pitch-black spatial cracks. The spatial rifts were like circle after circle of black ribbons that floated up into appearance from the void, and it caused one to feel as if one's soul core was about to be frozen and devoured with a single glance, causing one to be horrified. Looking at the terrifying ice ball, Dongli Ruoshu, Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, and the others' gazes were solemn to the extreme, and their minds were tense. That terrifying icy qi was accompanied by terrifying demonic qi. They could only retreat rapidly, unable to touch it at all. Frost meteor. On the square, Lian Qingrong, who had been in deep thought, suddenly had waves of shock in her eyes and her body trembled. That was the lost unique skill of the Great Snow Mountain, icy meteor. Bang, bang, bang. The ball of ice spun as a monstrous icy aura swept out in all directions. It suddenly came into contact with Du Xiaofu and little Xingxing's attacks. With a terrifying sonic boom, terrifying energy swept through the air like a tidal wave. Chi la la, two figures and a five-fingered mountain were pushed back from two different directions, and they landed heavily on the square, creating a huge pit in the indestructible square. The golden five-fingered mountain fell, and amidst the fluctuation of the golden talisman, Du Xiaoyao's redbone horse monkey body recovered, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Little Xingxing's huge dragon body was covered with ink-black talisman inscriptions, as if there was a black tortoise pattern on his back. He emitted a supreme aura as his body fell to the ground, and his qi and blood were in turmoil. Du Xiaofu got up with blood at the corner of his mouth. The golden rock wings on his back and the azure spirit armor on his body were dim, and his qi and blood were in turmoil. That terrifying icy energy was too terrifying. If it wasn't for the azure spirit armor, the immortal Shin body, and the true rock realm physical body, Du Xiaofu reckoned that he would have been in grave danger just now. Even so, he still suffered heavy injuries. Die. Seeing Du Xiaofu and the other two retreat, the huge ice ball in the silver-haired old man's hand dissipated. The murderous intent in his black and blood-red eyes didn't subside. The snake's spear in his hand exploded with a dazzling cold light, and his figure swooped down from the void, aiming for Du Xiaofu's forehead. This spear was like a flash of lightning, and that terrifying destructive power made Du Xiaofu's hair stand on end. Although he still had many trump cards that he hadn't used, Du Xiaofu knew that with such a huge gap in cultivation level, no matter how many trump cards he had, he couldn't overcome that huge gap in cultivation level. He was powerless. Fire lightning seed. I can only leave this guy to you. Du Xiaofu didn't hesitate anymore. Even if the danger in the main tomb of the Eternal Tomb was greater, he had already met an expert that he couldn't resist. Together with little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao wasn't a match for him. If he couldn't pass this stage, then he wouldn't be able to enter the main tomb. Whoosh! Just as the destructive blow swooped down from the void, a white-robed figure appeared in front of Du Xiaofu like a bolt of lightning. The person who came was wearing a white battle robe that was covered in snow-like runes. Dazzling runes spread out from her body, freezing the void around the square. It was the successor of the Great Snow Mountain, Snow Spirit Battle Emperor, Lian Qingrong. The successor of the Great Snow Mountain, Lian Qingrong, greets the ancestor. Greetings. At the same time, the dazzling white ice runes around Lian Qingrong exploded, and frost fell from the sky, as if a glacier was about to fall from the void. Everywhere was covered in white, and the void of the square fluctuated. The terrifying spear light magnified in Du Xiaofu and Lian Qingrong's eyes at the same time, and that destructive power made their primordial spirits tremble. In Du Xiaofu's Naiwan Palace, Hua Leizi's eyes also fluctuated, and a red and blue electric arc flame began to fluctuate. However, at this moment, just as the destructive strike was less than 10 feet away from Du Xiaofu, it gradually stopped in front of Lien Qingrong, and the cold air began to dissipate, and the monstrous aura of the snake's spear dissipated. The silver-haired old man stopped in the void with the long spear in his hand. On his aged face, the black and red light in his emotionless and indifferent eyes fluctuated. A wave of ice and snow surged out from the depths of his eyes, causing the black and red light to gradually fade away. This sudden and shocking change made Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, Xiaoxin, Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, and the others all dumbfounded, and they were so scared for Lien Qingrong that they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. I forgot. This guy seems to have founded the Great Snow Mountain. In Du Xiaofu's Naiwan Palace, Hua Leizi's voice came out, as if he was relieved of a heavy burden. In the low sky, the silver-haired old man's eyes recovered a touch of clarity, but the expression on his old face was still very confused, as if he was thinking hard about something. His eyes were intertwined with the black and red devil qi, and the aura of his body fluctuated. This movement made Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, and little Xingxing not dare to do anything rashly. They were very careful and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. In the silver-haired old man's eyes, the black and red devil qi and the ice and snow intertwined for a moment, and he looked at the strange phenomenon caused by Lien Qingrong, as if there was a strange connection, and a familiar aura rose from his heart. Finally, the ice and snow shot out from his eyes, and a slightly deep voice came out from his mouth, and he asked, "Are you the descendant of the Great Snow Mountain?" Disciple Lien Qingrong, the last descendant of the Great Snow Mountain. Lien Qingrong's expression was dignified, and he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Beads of cold sweat appeared on his forehead, and his legs were a little weak. Just now, he just wanted to take a gamble. If he had made a mistake, he was afraid that at this moment, he would have died. The last descendant of the Great Snow Mountain, Sai, the silver-haired old man sighed, and a touch of sadness appeared on his old face. He then opened his mouth and said, "I am the master of the Snow Palace, and my name is Beiluan Bingqian. The master of the Snow Palace, you are the Snow Ancestor." Lien Qingrong's body trembled, and his voice was full of shock. He raised his head and looked at the silver-haired old man in front of him, and the shock on his handsome face was replaced by surprise. He was excited, and his eyes fluctuated violently. He immediately bowed and said, "Junior greets the Snow Ancestor." What's going on? Such a scene made everyone dumbfounded, and they felt that it was unbelievable. The master of the Snow Palace, Beiluan Bingqian, is quite extraordinary. His heavenly talent is amazing, and he created the Great Snow Mountain. The 9 great families, the dragons, and the phoenixes do not dare to provoke him. Hua Leizi said in Du Xiaofu's Naiwan Palace. His eyes were slightly fluctuating, and he said, "It seems that although the heavenly ice saint has been affected, he still has the last bit of his heart, and has not been completely corrupted by the demon god. However, the situation is still not optimistic, so we must be careful." The founder of the Great Snow Mountain, Du Xiaofu, was still in deep shock. The silver-haired old man in front of him, Beiluan Bingqian, was actually the founder of the Great Snow Mountain and the founder of the Great Snow Mountain. No wonder he was so strong. "Stand up." While Du Xiaofu was still in shock, the master of the Snow Palace, Beiluan Bingqian, said to Lien Qingrong. His eyes swept over Du Xiaofu, Little Star, and Du Xiaoyao, and his eyes were filled with astonishment. He then said slowly, "Since you are able to come here, it seems that the seal outside has weakened. You must want to enter the main tomb, right?" Reporting to the Snow Ancestor, "We have come here to enter the main tomb. The great calamity of the world is coming again. Please help us." Lien Qingrong stood up and said to Beiluan Bingqian, "The true great calamity will begin from here, and it will descend upon the world again. I'm afraid that you will not be able to affect anything by coming here. It will be extremely dangerous inside." Beiluan Bingqian sighed, and a faint demonic qi rose from his body. It was frozen in the ice, and finally dissipated in the void. He glanced at everyone and said slowly, "Well, nothing can stop it anymore." Follow me inside, but be careful of the demonic chi inside. It can corrode your heart. The demonic chi in my body is only temporarily suppressed. If you feel that something is wrong, stay away from me." As soon as he finished speaking, the snake's spear in his hand disappeared. His gray robe fluttered, and he walked towards the ancient stone door. "Thank you, Snow Ancestor." Lien Qingrong nodded, her eyes filled with excitement. After entering the heavenly devil battlefield, she was also looking forward to seeing the experts of the Great Snow Mountain, but she did not expect that the Snow Ancestor was still alive. The Great Snow Mountain would rise again. "Let's go. Everyone be careful." After Bailuan Bingchen entered the ancient stone door, Du Xiaofu stuffed a few precious herbs into his mouth, and then he put away his green spirit armor and golden rock wings and followed him inside. Chapter 2132. Everyone silently followed behind him. Behind the ancient stone door was a tunnel-like passage. Long stone steps extended to the end, and at the end, there was a huge space. Light flickered in the distance, emitting an ancient aura. Woo-woo! There was a whining sound that seemed to come from the nine hells, making people's hair stand on end. Bailuan Bingchen did not look back. She walked forward step by step. Lien Qingrong did not hesitate and followed behind. Du Xiaofu did not hesitate either. Since there was no way out, he followed. In these few minutes, the light in front of them became brighter and brighter, and the space they could see became wider. The demonic chi that permeated the entire space also became denser. Finally, a vast space appeared in front of Du Xiaofu and the others. This space was too big. It was as vast as the starry sky. It was so vast that there was no end to it. At the end of their line of sight, there was only darkness. In the center of this vast space, there were a total of 13 ancient altars floating in the air. They were like 13 small stars. Looking from afar, there was a figure sitting cross-legged on each altar. They were like old monks in meditation, and there was no fluctuation of aura from them. Woo-woo! Demonic chi lingered in the air. On each of the 13 altars, there was a huge ancient chain. It was like 9 huge dragon bodies. It stretched out and intertwined in the center of the 13 altars. At the center of the 13 altars, there was a swirling vortex. Monstrous demonic chi gushed out from the vortex, emitting ghostly wails. It was like the entrance to the 9 serenities, the gate to hell. Demonic chi poured out, ghostly wails and ghostly wails. Streaks of jet-black demonic chi danced wildly like black lightning. An extremely terrifying aura spread out, filling the vast space. However, at the entrance of the vortex, there were bright talisman runes shining. They covered the vortex like a huge net of light. No matter how violently the black demonic chi lightning surged, it could not break through the net of light. Du Xiaofu raised his eyes and looked at the huge vortex. His heart trembled violently. The spiritual lightning in his primordial spirit rumbled for no reason. The purple lightning profound cauldron in the god's watchtower also rumbled and trembled for no reason. Whoosh whoosh. As his figure landed, Du Xiaofu also felt many gazes from all directions. Du Xiaofu looked in the direction of those gazes and saw many familiar figures: Grandfather Jialo Batis God, Jialo Jueyu, and the Great Elder, the Second Elder, Third, the Moon Saint, Xian Gu, Saint Feng Fengqi Saint, Feng, and Feng Fuan. There was Dongfang Qingmu, and Dark Demon. Not far away, Du Xiaofu also saw many enemies. Legalism Qin Yanlong, Dragon's Long Qian Chao, and others also appeared in the void. There were also familiar figures like Xiang Wushuang, Hong Yue, and the Violet Lotus Fairy. There were also some powerful existences who were definitely at the Saint Realm. They were ancient existences who had been hiding in the world. The most terrifying aura came from afar. That place was covered by demonic chi, and there were thousands of evil spirits and demonic beasts. In the front were the Great Demon, the 7 Demon Emperors, the 8 Demon Emperors, Moksha, Jialo Juehong, and others. Du Xiaofu frowned, and his eyes turned solemn. When he entered the Eternal Tomb, there were only a few hundred evil spirits and demonic beasts following the devil religion. Now that they had entered the main tomb, not only were there no casualties, but there were more and more of them. This was too strange. Woo, woo! The cries of ghosts and howls of gods came from the devil religion. Many of the devil emissaries were forming hand seals, murmuring some kind of incantation. The evil spirits and demonic beasts were scattered, and there was some kind of profound meaning where they stood. They were invisibly connected, and demonic chi surged. Bailuan Bingchen, the master of the Snow Palace, stepped into this space. She looked up at the whirlpool and the 13 altars, and for some reason, the black and red demonic chi in her eyes surged again, attacking the light of ice and snow. Ancestor Snow. Lian Qing's face was solemn. Ancestor Snow was clearly still being corroded by the demonic chi. If she lost her mind again, the consequences would be unimaginable. Du Xiaofu's heart trembled, and he looked away. The primordial spirit in his Naiwan palace immediately asked Master Huarlei if there was any way to help Bailuan Bingchen. There is no way. The demonic chi has been in her body for a long time. Her cultivation is not bad, and there should be something special about her body. That is why she was able to keep her mind. But what will happen in the end? She can only rely on herself. Master Huarlei told Du Xiaofu. His figure appeared in the red and blue flames. His round face was unprecedentedly embarrassed. He seemed to feel something and continued to say to Du Xiaofu, "This is the main tomb. The last seal has been loosened. I'm afraid nothing can be stopped." Whoosh, whoosh, Jalobatian, Moon Saint, Xiangu, Feng Qi Saint, Qing Feng Taoist, and the other strong cultivators all rushed over and landed beside Du Xiaofu. Their eyes were fixed on Bailuan Bingchen. The demonic chi and the ice chi were in a stalemate. The momentum was so great that it made their hearts jump, and it attracted their attention. At this time, Jalobatian, Xiangu, and the others all looked more or less embarrassed. They were all injured. It seemed that they had gone through a lot of battles in the main tomb. Rock Emperor, Mo Tianxiao, Dongfang Qingmu, and Nether Demon arrived at Du Xiaofu's side and saluted. "Xiaofu, what is going on?" Jalobatian asked. He looked at Bailuan Bingchen and felt the demonic chi. Along the way, everyone had come into contact with it. The demonic chi here could affect living things. Du Xiaofu told everyone the identity of Bailuan Bingchen, the Lord of the Snow Palace, and explained the situation without hiding anything. The founder of the Great Snow Mountain is still alive. Moon Saint, Xiangu, and the others were shocked when they learned of Bailuan Bingchen's identity. The demonic chi has entered her body. If she completely turns into a demon, the consequences will be worrying. Qing Feng Taoist's eyes narrowed. With Bailuan Bingchen's cultivation, if she completely turned into a demon, there would not be many saints present who could resist her. "Senior, is there anything we can do for you?" Du Xiaofu frowned. He raised his head and saluted Bailuan Bingchen, feeling nervous. She was the founder of the Great Snow Mountain. If she was controlled by the demonic chi again, it would be troublesome. "The demonic chi here is dense. I am trying to suppress it," Bailuan Bingchen said. The black and red light in her eyes intertwined with the light of ice and snow. Her aura was terrifying. She glanced at Moon Saint, Xiangu, Jalobatian, Xiangu, and the others and said, "If I completely turn into a demon in the end, you don't have to hold back. Don't let me leave this place." As soon as she finished speaking, Bailuan Bingchen sat down cross-legged and formed a seal with her hands. Cold chi gushed out from the surface of her body. Mysterious runes flickered, covering her body with a thick layer of ice, as if she had turned into an ice sculpture. Hearing Bailuan Bingchen's words, Saint Feng Qi, Qing Feng Taoist, and the others all looked at her with awe and seriousness. "Ancestor Snow, please hold on," Lian Qingrong said. She stood to the side with a serious expression. Du Xiaofu wanted to help, but even Huolei couldn't do anything. They could only pray that the Snow Palace Master would succeed. Taking a deep breath, Du Xiaofu finally saluted Jalobatian, Moon Saint, Xiangu, and the others. Then he asked, "Seniors, how is the situation now? Most of those who can enter have already entered. I wonder how many have died." Sigh. Meng Qianhe shook his head slightly. He had seen countless beings die on the way here. Du Xiaofu didn't find it strange. The 9 great clans and the other major forces didn't allow disciples who weren't strong enough to enter the main tomb, but there were many beings who entered in search of opportunities. The Tomb of Eternity was filled with danger. It was almost impossible for cultivators below the master domain to enter the main tomb. Judging from the number of people in the main tomb, those who would be considered extraordinary in the outside world had probably all died. Extremely important figures of the devil religion should be suppressed there. They want to open the seal. Jalobatian looked at the demonic chi vortex in the center of the 13 altars and said with a serious expression, "We can't let the devil religion succeed." Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with lightning. No matter what was suppressed there, he couldn't let the devil religion succeed. He said to Jalobatian, Moon Saint, Xin Gu, Qing Feng Taoist, and the others, "If we work together, we might have a chance to stop the devil religion." Du Xiaofu estimated that the great demon was the strongest, but he still had Huolei Zi as a trump card. If he worked with Qing Feng, Meng Qianhe, and the others, it wouldn't be impossible to stop the demon emperors of the devil religion. Child, everything is more complicated than you think. There are too many secrets in the world that you still don't know. Jalobatian looked at Du Xiaofu helplessly and said, "Do you see those 13 altars? There are the ancestors of the 9 great clans, the dragons, the phoenixes, and the golden-winged rocks. They stopped the devil religion and saved the primordial spirit of the demon god. Those ancestors will continue to suppress the altars until they are exhausted." Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled when he heard that. The figures on the 13 altars that looked like meditating old monks were actually the ancestors of the 9 great clans, the dragons, the phoenixes, and even the golden-winged rocks. Jalobatian paused for a moment before continuing. "This world has been sealed, and the energy of heaven and earth is being consumed. The cultivation of Saint Realm cultivators is degenerating. If this continues, sooner or later, this entire world will decline and turn into a wasteland." Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered. He had learned everything from Huolei Zi. Meng Qianhe looked at the 13 figures sitting cross-legged on the 13 altars from afar. Light flickered in his eyes as he said softly, "If the tomb of eternity is broken, perhaps those 13 ancestors will be able to awaken." Chapter 21:33. The Mo family's divine ancestor, Hu Xuanhu, hesitated for a moment before he said to Du Xiaofu, "There is a rumor among the great families that if their ancestors are able to walk out of the heavenly devil battlefield, then even if the great calamity comes again, the great families and great forces will be able to protect themselves and stay out of trouble." Du Xiaofu's expression changed when he heard this. It was no wonder that the 9 great families, dragons, and phoenixes didn't show any intention of taking action even though they knew that the devil religion was related to the devil calamity. It turned out that even if the great calamity came again, those great forces would be able to stay out of trouble. Du Xiaofu still remembered that Qi Yeshi had mentioned not long ago that when the great calamity came again, the great forces might be able to protect themselves. Moreover, Saint Realm cultivators would degenerate sooner or later, so the great forces experts would be even less likely to stop the devil religion. Woo-woo, as Hu Xuanhu's voice fell, a vast and terrifying devil chi swept out from the devil religion's formation. The figures of the 5 great devil envoys swept out in picturesque disorder. Many devil envoys stood together, accompanied by numerous evil spirits and demonic beasts, forming a terrifying aura that filled the vast void. This terrifying aura caused the expressions of the Saint Realm cultivators present to change. Boom! The devil chi gathered and condensed into a monstrous devil chi light pillar. Like a bolt of lightning, it charged towards the 10,000 zhang tall devil chi vortex at the center of the 13 altars. The monstrous devil chi rushed into the void with a huge black shadow. In an instant, it surged forward and swept straight towards the 10,000 zhang tall vortex. Rumble. As the devil chi light pillar entered, the 10,000 zhang tall vortex suddenly trembled violently. A terrifying black light spread out from within, causing the entire vast space to darken. Du Xiaofu looked over, and his eyes narrowed slightly. It seemed that something was climbing out of the 10,000 zhang tall vortex. The cries of ghosts and howls of gods became even more intense as monstrous devil chi rushed out. Faintly discernible, 5 black shadows appeared in the 10,000 zhang tall vortex. 5 terrifying auras were awakening. Could it be the remaining primordial spirit of the Grand Shaman Demon Emperor? Du Xiaofu's heart sank. The aura was too strong. The devil religion had already sent out 4 devil emperors. According to the information he received, the remaining 5 devil emperors had been suppressed in the Tomb of Eternity. It was very likely that the 5 devil emperors' Yuan spirits were suppressed in the Tomb of Eternity. Now that the devil religion had fused and recovered the 4 devil emperors, they were a terrifying force. Especially with the powerful great devil, they could suppress any force in the world. If the 5 devilish emperors were to be added to the equation, then the devil religion would become an extremely terrifying force. Du Xiaofu felt that even if the so-called demon god did not appear, this terrifying force would be enough to turn the 3 continents of Kyushu into a demonic domain. No one would be able to stop them. Hee, boss. Old 7, old 8, old 9, you guys are here. Within the vortex, demonic light fluctuated, and a dark voice echoed in the void. It's the devil emperors of the devil religion. Dongli Qingqing held the Taiqing demon subduing bow in her hand, her eyes full of vigilance. Buzz, at the same time, on the 13 altars, the 13 huge chains that were connected to each other began to glow. The runes intertwined with each other like 13 huge thunderbolts. Wind and thunder rumbled as a terrifying force poured out and poured into the vortex. Hee, old 2, old 3, old 4, old 5, old 6, it's your turn. The great devil emperor looked at the 13 glowing chains on the 13 altars with a sneer on his face. His white teeth gave off a sinister feeling. Demonic chi rose from his hand, spreading in the void in an instant, sweeping in all directions. Whoosh! In an instant, the void distorted, and a heart-palpitating demonic chi spread out. As the demonic chi spread, 5 figures of different heights stepped out from the demonic chi and appeared in front of everyone. The 5 figures were wrapped in demonic chi. They were old and young, and their auras were astonishing. The physical bodies of 5 devil emperors. The moon saint frowned. Her eyes flashed with the shadow of the moon and starlight. We can't trap it. The 5 figures emerged from the demonic chi, looking at the vortex of demonic chi, and in different voices were heard. As his voice fell, the 5 figures condensed hand seals in their hands. Dazzling dark talisman runes swept out from their bodies. 5 pairs of eyes revealed a ghastly white color, giving people an extremely frightening feeling. Rumble. As the 5 moved, the vortex seemed to be pulled by some invisible force, and a terrifying rumbling sound was heard. It seemed like something was about to crack, and the light of the giant chains began to dim, and it was on the verge of collapsing. Everyone, the great calamity is coming again. Maybe we can stay out of it, but I believe that it will be much more terrifying than we imagined. When the time comes, I'm afraid no one can stay out of it. At least we can kill a few of the physical bodies of the devil emperors. When the primordial spirits of those devil emperors break free and merge into one, and recover to their peak, it will be too late by then. The moon saint said. She was divining the future, but it was a blur. She had made up her mind, and at least she had to try to stop it. Rumble. With that, Moon Saint shot out. Moonlight suddenly surged in the vast space, and a river of stars appeared. A hand of starlight that was several thousand meters long suddenly took shape. It spun with the stars and blasted towards the demon emperors up ahead. Let's do it. If we work together, we'll at least have a chance to get rid of a few devil emperors. Xiangu shot out, and ink-black light gushed out, following the Moon Saint. Our clan's cultivators killed devil emperors before. So what if we kill another one today? Jalo Baishan's robe billowed, and golden light gushed out of his eyes. His figure shot out like a rock spreading its wings, and his overbearing aura spread out in an instant. The Taoist Saint Qingfeng, the Mahist Saint Hu Xuanhu, the Confucian Saint Meng Qianhe, the agricultural Saint Zhang Yuechan, and the Phoenix Saint Feng Qi of the Phoenix clan looked at each other, and the 5 figures followed closely behind. Their auras shook the space. Kiki, you've overestimated yourselves. The 9th Devil Emperor, the 8th Devil Emperor, and the 7th Devil Emperor laughed sinisterly, and 3 bursts of demonic chi shot out from their bodies. The great Devil Emperor stared at the Moon Saint, and he disappeared from where he was in an instant. When the great Devil Emperor reappeared, he was already in front of the Moon Saint. Demonic chi gushed out like a black sun, and the eyes of the black figure were like black holes in the space. He threw a palm attack at the moon saint. Rumble. The attack of a Saint Plane cultivator arrived in an instant, and the collision made it difficult to see what was going on. Demonic chi filled the sky, and runes intertwined with each other. Large swaths of the space were shattered in an instant. The destructive energy swept out, and the 7th Devil Emperor, the 8th Devil Emperor, and the 9th Devil Emperor were all knocked back. Chapter 21:34. Jalobatian, Feng Qi Saint, Xingu, and the others stood together. They had twice the number of people compared to the 9 Demon Emperor and his 2 companions. Together, they managed to push the 3 Demon Emperors back. However, they only managed to push them back. They didn't gain much of an advantage. Thump! Moon Saint's beautiful figure flew back. She only managed to stabilize her body after flying for 100 meters. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Moon Saint had been severely injured by the Great Demon before. Although the Great Demon had been severely injured when he crossed the 13 arched bridges, Moon Saint was still no match for him. Seeing the Devil Religion's Demon Emperors being pushed back, Feng Fenchen, Mo Tianxiao, Jialo Jueyu, and the other experts of the major families felt their blood boil. Looking at the battle that was about to break out, the surrounding creatures were also surprised. Many of their eyes were secretly stirred. In the crowd, Qin Yanlong, Long Qinxiao, and the others wore gloomy expressions. A fight between clams and cranes was what they wanted to see the most. Kiki. The 9 Demon Emperor and the other 2 Demon Emperors were pushed back, but they didn't care at all. Their eyes swept across Moon Saint, Jalobatian, Xingu, and the others. The 9 Demon Emperors said, "Do you really want to stop them? If the eternal tomb doesn't break, you will still be trapped inside. The outside is still a prison for you. At least, we will kill you all. It will be considered as doing something for the common people. Otherwise, we will feel uneasy." Jalobatian laughed loudly. His golden robe fluttered in the wind, and golden light filled the sky. "Do you think you have the advantage because you have more people? You are too naive. Kiki, unfortunately, you are not enough." The 8 Demon Emperors sneered. His dark brown eyes were like a bottomless abyss. Demonic chi surged within them. Rumble. As soon as the 8 Demon Emperor's voice fell, 4 terrifying auras suddenly surged from the Devil Religion's formation behind him. Evil wind howled, and demonic chi filled the sky. Everyone's eyes trembled. They felt that the 4 auras were absolutely terrifying. In an instant, 4 figures swept out from the Devil Religion's formation. As the 4 figures swept out, a figure turned into a monstrous bird. Its wings covered half of the sky. A gigantic bull appeared in the sky. It was several hundred meters in size, and its roar shattered the void. There were also 2 figures whose bodies glowed brightly. One of them wielded a sword, while the other brandished a saber. Wherever they passed, the void distorted, revealing signs of collapse. The 4 terrifying auras were all above the Saint Realm. They were not ordinary Saint Realm cultivators. They were not much weaker than Bailuan Bingtian, the Palace Master of Snow Palace. The auras of the 2 men and 2 beasts were vast, but they had one thing in common. Their eyes were suffused with black and red light, and there was demonic aura emitting from their bodies. The 4 terrifying experts have all been affected by the demonic chi. Du Xiaofu's expression changed drastically when he saw the 4 auras, 2 humans and 2 beasts. Judging from the 4 auras, they were far more powerful than ordinary Saint Realm cultivators. They were probably the ancient powerhouses who had stayed in the Eternal Tomb. The 4 terrifying strong cultivators had obviously been corroded by the demon chi. Their situation was similar to that of the leader of the Snow Palace, but they were far more severely affected. The leader of the Snow Palace had been able to maintain his last bit of conscience, but the 4 ancient powerhouses had probably been completely corroded. Not good. They are the ancient powerhouses who have been affected. Moon Saint, Jalobatian, Taoist Qingfeng, and the others all turned pale when they realized that there were 4 such terrifying experts hidden in the Devil Religion. Moo! Squeak! The demonic bull roared. Its black and red eyes were frightening as it stomped on the void. The ferocious bird flapped its wings, and the demonic chi was torrential. It tore through the void, frightening all the cultivators present. The remaining two powerhouses, saber and sword light, swept out, cutting through the void. Their auras were vast and unparalleled. The four of them instantly rushed toward Jalobatian, Xiangu, and the others. Fight! There was no way out. Jalobatian roared. His robe billowed, and golden light shot out. Golden runes swept out, and he turned into a golden-winged rock as he swept out. Golden light filled the sky like a rising sun. Jalobatian's pair of golden rock wings covered the sky, resisting the ancient bird clan's experts who had been corroded by the demonic chi. Xiangu took action, turning into a giant tortoise. In an instant, thousands of dazzling ink-black runes swept out, turning into a rain of light, resisting the demonic bull. Feng Qi Saint and Taoist Qing Feng also took action, resisting the two ancient powerhouses who had been corroded by the demonic qi. Kiki, the seventh demon emperor, the eighth demon emperor, and the ninth demon emperor sneered and rushed toward Hu Xuanhu, Meng Qianhe, and Jiang Yuechan. You're overestimating yourself. The seventh demon emperor's voice was clear and crisp. His graceful and seductive body turned into a giant dark phoenix that was more than 1,000 feet long. Black flames billowed, and when he flapped his wings, it formed a storm. The black flames swept out like waves, burning together with the demonic chi, destroying everything. Boom, boom. The eighth demon emperor's body expanded, revealing his giant black scorpion body. His giant tail glowed with a chilling light, like a giant pole standing in the depths of the void. Pitch-black spatial cracks spread all around, piercing through space like black lightning from the depths of the void. Kiki, the ninth demon emperor, laughed strangely. His black armor erupted with demonic chi, and his aura was monstrous. Little girl, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The great demon emperor was like a black sun in the sky, and a pitch-black demonic chi beam swept out, heading straight for the moon saint. Rumble. In an instant, more than a dozen Saint Realm experts exploded. If it were in the outside world, it would be enough to shatter mountains and rivers, sever heaven and earth, and cause a great catastrophe. Du Xiaofu raised his head and looked at the chaotic and terrifying battlefield in the distance. It was not something he could interfere with. In terms of numbers, the Devil Religion's Saint Realm experts were no different from the Moon Saint and Jalobatian. However, Du Xiaofu knew very well that the Devil Religion's demon emperors and ancient experts who had been corroded by the demonic qi were obviously stronger than the likes of Taoist Qing Feng and Saint Feng Qi. It would not be long before the Devil Religion gained the upper hand. Most importantly, it would be too late to stop the 5 demon emperors when their primordial spirits broke free and merged with their bodies. Attack! Kill those demon emperors. In just a moment of thought, Du Xiaofu immediately made a decision. At this moment, the Saint Realm experts were all attacking. The primordial spirits of the 5 demon emperors were still trapped, and their bodies and primordial spirits had yet to truly merge. Du Xiaofu knew that he could not interfere in a battle at the Saint Realm level, but he was not afraid of the 5 demon emperors' primordial spirits. As soon as his voice fell, Du Xiaofu's figure had already soared into the sky. Golden light erupted from his back, and the golden rock wings and azure spirit armor were directly activated. The faint cry of the rock pierced through the clouds and cracked stones. His domineering aura swept through the void as if he had turned into a humanoid rock. Chapter 21:35. Kill. Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing followed closely behind. Their auras were vast, and their radiance overflowed into the sky. Their target was the same as Du Xiaofu, the 5 devil emperors that were communicating with the vortex. We meet again. As such a voice resounded, Moksha's figure blocked in front of Du Xiaofu, and the ancient armor on his body fluctuated with devil qi. Loser, you're already no match for me, yet you still dare to stop me. Du Xiaofu bellowed, exuding an aura of invincibility. The golden rock wings on his back flapped as if they were shaking the 9 heavens. Golden talisman runes erupted, crossing the void. The sky-shaking wings directly slapped towards Mo Sha. Do you really think I couldn't do anything to you that day? Moksha's face sank. Cold light surged, and the devil chi in the surroundings condensed. It was as if numerous devil stars had been summoned, and they crushed the void, forming a vast space of devil stars that crushed down on Du Xiaofu. The scene was shocking, and it could crush everything. Break! Du Xiaofu's rock struck the sky and shattered the devil stars. He attacked with all his strength, and he wanted to end the battle quickly. His true target was the Devil Emperor's bodies. Once the Devil Emperor's bodies merged with their origin spirits, it would be difficult to have a better opportunity to kill them. Back off. Along with the instant collision between Du Xiaofu and Moksha, two figures appeared from the void and appeared in front of Du Xiaoyao and Little Xingxing. They were precisely Jialo Juelyao and Imo Lingzi. Let's see if you have the ability to stop me. Du Xiaoyao instantly transformed into the red-bone horse monkey, overbearing and arrogant. His fist pushed out in all directions, suppressing all life, and blasted towards Jialo Juelyao. Screech! The cry of a rock resounded, and an enormous black and gold devil rock soared through the sky. An abyss-like vacuum was set off in the surrounding space, and black light that caused one's heart to palpitate gushed out. It flapped its wings and suddenly collided with the red-bone horse monkey. Rumble! Rumble! The terrifying collision of these two colossi created a muffled explosion that was deafening to the ears. A large expanse of space collapsed. Du Xiaoyao and Jialo Jueju attacked with their full strength. This wasn't the first time they had fought. They had fought in the divine domain and were well aware of each other's strength. There was no need for any probing. It was a competition of who had improved faster over the years. Boom! Imo Lingzi threw a punch at Little Xingxing. Lightning exploded, purple thunderclouds surged, and lightning flashed all around. Scram! Facing Imo Lingzi, Little Xingxing's immature voice revealed a kind of unparalleled power. Their tiny jade-like fists directly collided, and golden flames erupted, fearless of the lightning. Chi-la-la! The void exploded, and Imo Lingzi was directly sent flying, while Little Xingxing's figure only swayed slightly. Buzz, buzz! Above the void, Dongli Qingqing's graceful figure appeared like a deity. Her hair fluttered in the wind, and green light filled the air. The runes on the Taiching demon subduing bow flickered in her hand, and the dazzling green light spread out like the sun. It was like the aura of a fiend god was spreading in all directions. The terrifying aura was like an ancient fiend god awakening from a deep slumber, causing a phenomenon in the void and thunder to resound. Swish, 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 everything happened as fast as lightning. Dongli Qingqing didn't have any delay. Her hair fluttered behind her head as she pulled the bow and released it. 5 energy light arrows were shot out in succession. The green light was resplendent, and wherever they passed, a large expanse of space was directly distorted. Then, the space collapsed, and pitch-black spatial cracks cracked as they pierced towards the bodies of the 5 fiend god emperors. Boom! A figure appeared, accompanied by rolling dark clouds. Following the appearance of this figure, the void began to tremble violently. The fiend god emperor's demonic aura covered the sky, and black fog surged to the sky. Blood light flashed from his eyes, like 2 blood moons. It was especially frightening in the midst of the black fog and fiend god emperor's demonic aura. He was the earth demon envoy. He didn't join forces with the other demon envoys, fiend god beasts, and evil spirits to help the 5 fiend god emperors escape. Demonic clouds rolled around his body, and as the void trembled, a sharp claw mark rapidly expanded in the void, as though it was going to cover this part of the void. It tore apart 5 abyss-like pitch-black spatial cracks, drowning everything in its path, and directly blocked Dongli Qingqing's 5 arrows. Boom, boom, boom. Oh! At the same time, the fire demon envoy, lightning demon envoy, ice demon envoy, and wind demon envoy, as well as the pair of demonic beasts, the evil spirit expert and the devil sex expert, all erupted with their strength, crushing the enemy. Boom! Rumble, Du Tingxian, Jialo Jueyu, Nether Demon, Dongli Ruoshu, Dongfang Qingmu, Feng Finchen, Qi Xingchen, Patriarch Mingwan, and the other experts of the Feng clan, the Great Golden Winged Rocks, the Confucian School, the Taoist School, the School of Agriculture, the Mahis School, and the Phoenix clan all rushed over and instantly attacked. Qi Xingqian, Patriarch Mingwen, and the others resisted the Earth Demon Envoy, Thunder Demon Envoy, and the others. Du Tingxian, Dongli Ruoshu, and the others were instantly surrounded, and the battle instantly erupted. There were many experts of the Confucian School, the Mahis School, the Phoenix clan, and the Great Golden-Winged Rocks, but there were only a few dozen of them altogether. They couldn't compare to the thousands of fiend god beasts and evil spirits of the devil religion. Fortunately, not all of those evil spirits and fiend god beasts had the strength of a master regent or a half-sage. In the void, the 5 fiend god emperors' true bodies didn't move at all. The battle in the void seemed to have nothing to do with them. They were invisibly connected to the vortex and attacked the seal. The 13 giant chains glowed and intertwined with the mysterious runes covering the vortex to suppress the 5 fiend god emperors' primordial spirits. However, at this moment, the light on the 13 giant chains began to dim, and the seal covering the vortex also began to show signs of cracking under the terrifying impact of the fiend god Qi. The mysterious runes on the seal were also being eroded by the fiend god Qi. Bam! 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 The entire vast void rumbled and exploded continuously. The battle between a group of sage stage experts was the most shocking. Dazzling runes and waves of destructive energy were everywhere. The void constantly shattered and turned into a vacuum before slowly recovering. The battle between Du Xiaofu and Moksha wasn't much different from the battle between sage stage experts. Golden light burst forth, and spiritual lightning descended. It was incomparably intense. What surprised Du Xiaofu was that Moksha seemed to have improved a lot. Compared to the last time they fought, Moksha was much stronger. Ayuwo, Moksha was surrounded by fiend god Qi. His eyes were deep and dark. Many shadows of beast energy gathered around him. He roared and pounced on Du Xiaofu. Although Moksha had improved a lot, Du Xiaofu was still fearless. Du Xiaofu was no longer afraid of anyone below the saint stage. He flapped his golden wings and the dazzling azure spirit armor on his body. He was like a human-shaped rock, peerless and ferocious. He destroyed all the beast energy. The void exploded. Du Xiaofu only activated the beast energy of the golden-winged rock and carried the supreme will of the golden-winged rock. The azure spirit armor and the golden-winged rock's golden wings were natural. He was able to suppress Moksha. Moksha was secretly shocked. Since the last time he was suppressed by Du Xiaofu, he had the help of the Fiend God Emperor and the others. He had also obtained opportunities and made great progress. However, he didn't expect that the distance between him and his old enemy, Du Xiaofu, was getting farther and farther. Gee! A golden-purple thunder rock flapped its wings and soared into the sky. Its energy swept out like a vast ocean. Bang! Bang! Moksha tried his best to block, but he was still forced back. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. Even the bones in his body cracked. He was seriously injured. The golden wings of the great Peng soared into the sky, and the free and unfettered steps drifted like a deity. Du Xiaofu's figure swooped down, and the hand seals in his hands did not delay at all. Afterimages quickly condensed in his hands, condensing into seals. The profound qi in the god's gate in his body also surged like huge waves in a vast ocean, surging out along his acupoints and meridians. In an instant, Du Xiaofu condensed 4 seals. They instantly overlapped and covered his palms. They were as resplendent as the sun in the sky. The light flickered like lightning. The 4 seals overlapped. This was the mysterious yellow 4 division seal, which was also the mysterious yellow emperor seal. It was enough to suppress all living things and move mountains and seas. Awoo! The mysterious yellow 4 division seal condensed. The light was gorgeous, and a powerful pressure spread out from it. There were faint roars of dragons and tigers, and the cries of birds and turtles, causing the ancient space to tremble endlessly. Mysterious yellow emperor's seal, calm the world, suppress all living things. Boom! These words were shouted out from Du Xiaofu's mouth. He wanted to take the other party's life while it was down and end the battle quickly. The mysterious yellow emperor seal carried a glaring tail of light amidst the Sanskrit sound as it instantly slammed towards Moksha. Feeling the energy fluctuations contained in this palm, which covered the void and was unavoidable, Moksha's expression changed greatly. The devil lightning on his body condensed in an instant. It gathered the devil energy and condensed into a palm print. He clenched his teeth and met it head-on. Boom, boom. The two handprints collided with each other, and an earth-shattering, muffled sound of energy resounded in the sealed space. The runes burst forth, and dazzling rays of light burst forth. Demonic lightning wreaked havoc, and it seemed as if two meteorites were colliding with each other. Terrifying energy ripples swept out in all directions like huge waves. In the middle of the void where the two palm prints collided, a huge black hole collapsed. There were the roars of dragons and tigers, and the cries of birds and turtles. A woo, an azure dragon, an illusory white tiger, an illusory phoenix, and an illusory black tortoise appeared. They roared like thunder, and their awe-inspiring pressure caused the heavens and the earth to boil. All the beasts were horrified and trembled. Pucci, Moksha's figure vomited blood and retreated. His face was pale, and the armor on his body dimmed. His body shook violently, and he was once again blasted out blood. You are no longer my opponent. Go. Du Xiaofu's eyes were like golden suns. They were fierce and domineering. Moksha looked coldly at Du Xiaofu and did not speak. Devil energy gushed out from his eyes. He shook his arm, and a purple arc of lightning suddenly appeared in his right palm. Boom, boom. When the purple arc of lightning appeared, a strange aura suddenly spread out in the void. The space began to tremble violently. An extremely dangerous aura suddenly spread out in midair. All the living beings present felt an absolute sense of fear. Suddenly, many of the living beings present looked over. The void was trembling. In front of Moksha, purple arcs of lightning were resplendent. A three-legged cauldron, which was hundreds of meters in size, was rotating. Divine Lightning Cauldron, that's the Divine Lightning Cauldron. Boom. Looking at the three-legged cauldron, everyone's expression changed. Long Qianxiao, Qin Yunlong, and the others' expressions changed at the same time. Du Xiaofu's eyes twitched slightly. The purple lightning profound cauldron in his body was attracted and rumbled. You are finally willing to use the Divine Lightning Cauldron. You know I have one too. Du Xiaofu's eyes curved into a smile. When his voice fell, a bright stream of light flew out from his palm. It coiled in front of him and turned into an identical three-legged cauldron. Buzz! The cauldron rotated, and the surrounding space was distorted. The purple thunderclouds in the sky rolled endlessly. The entire sky changed color. The thunderclouds were dense, and the entire void seemed to have entered the darkness before dawn. Rumble. Boom. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Terrifying purple lightning covered the sky and earth. A monstrous destructive aura spread out from the purple thunderclouds. The surrounding space, along with the buzz sound, cracked inch by inch. Two divine lightning cauldrons appeared at the same time. Boom. Under the terrifying destructive power of thunder, the living beings present were stunned. They all felt a chill spread from the bottom of their hearts. Two divine lightning cauldrons appeared at the same time. Before the destructive power of thunder, their souls trembled. Looking at the purple lightning profound cauldron in front of Moksha, Du Xiaofu's eyes secretly flickered. The devil religion had 8 of the 9 purple lightning profound cauldrons. He only had one. If he could take the opportunity to obtain the one in Moksha's hands, he might have a higher chance of winning in the future. You want to seize this divine lightning cauldron? Moksha looked at Du Xiaofu, as if he could see through Du Xiaofu's thoughts. The divine lightning cauldron does not belong to the devil religion. Du Xiaofu admitted generously. Is that so? Moksha wiped a trace of blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes darkened slightly as he stared at Du Xiaofu. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly raised his left arm. From the palm of his left hand, 2 streaks of purple-gold flowing light shot into the sky in an instant. Along with 2 purple thunderclouds, arcs of lightning converged into purple thunderbolts and suddenly rushed out. The dazzling purple light poured down. Rumble. In an instant, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. In front of Moksha, two more three-legged divine lightning cauldrons appeared. The three cauldrons stood upright, and the destructive power of thunder swept through the void, making the Saint Realm experts who were fighting fiercely tremble. Three divine lightning cauldrons. The three divine lightning cauldrons occupied the place. The creatures who were watching the battle from afar were dumbfounded. The mighty destructive power of thunder made the creatures' hair stand on end and their souls tremble. Three purple lightning cauldrons. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was equally shocked. Moksha had brought three purple lightning cauldrons. In the previous battle, the former had clearly been holding back. Looks like you won't get what you want. Let's fight. He stared at Du Xiaofu. Purple electric arcs wrapped around him, thunderclouds entrenched him, and three purple lightning profound cauldrons entrenched himself in the air. Moksha had brought three divine lightning cauldrons. Last time, even when he was defeated, he did not use them. It was for the sake of the plan in the eternal tomb. The devil religion wanted to completely obtain the 9 divine lightning cauldrons. In the past, he tolerated one divine lightning cauldron outside because he was waiting for the right time. Now, the time had come. Rumble. As soon as Moksha's voice fell, the 3 purple lightning cauldrons were activated. Countless purple lightning bolts fell from the sky, densely covering the surrounding space. With unparalleled destructive power, they wrapped around Du Xiaofu. In the distance, Qin Yunlong, Long Qianchao, and Xiang Wushuang's primordial lightning elephant, sacred ancestor elephant Changsheng, and an old man beside Hong Yue felt his heart tremble. The power of the 3 divine lightning cauldrons was enough to make them tremble. Chapter 2136. Translator. H2-2 Mr. The divine thunder cauldron left behind by that supreme master is too powerful. Violet Lotus Fairy muttered. She knew that she was powerless against the thunder might that was sweeping towards her from afar. Xiang Wushuang raised his head slightly and looked into the distance. Even someone as arrogant as him was trembling in fear. In the blink of an eye, the purple lightning surged like raging waves and swept towards Du Xiaofu. The destructive power of the lightning caused one's hair to stand on end and their hairs to stand on end. At this moment, all the living beings present couldn't help but inhale a breath of cold air. Du Xiaofu raised his head slightly in the purple lightning surging. The azure armor on his body rippled with purple lightning arcs, showing no signs of fear. Since the last collision between the 2 purple thunder cauldrons, Du Xiaofu knew that Moksha had yet to truly control the purple thunder cauldrons. His immortal Xin body was only half complete. He was still unable to truly control the purple thunder cauldrons and achieve the true immortal Xin body. With the indestructible Xin body, Du Xiaofu was able to truly control the purple thunder profound cauldrons. At this moment, Du Xiaofu could feel that even with the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons surrounding him, Moksha had yet to truly control them. He was only using the power of the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons to suppress him. Rumble. Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened as he activated the purple thunder cauldrons. Purple gold profound lightning that blotted out the sky and earth exploded, condensing into purple lightning pillars. The entire void was filled with the sharp sound of thunder. The purple lightning collided, causing the void to collapse. The surroundings turned into a sea of purple lightning that connected with Du Xiaofu and Moksha. The sea of purple lightning spread out, bathing Moksha and Du Xiaofu. The 4 purple gold profound lightning revolved and roared. The 3 purple thunder cauldrons formed a triangle and bombarded the purple thunder cauldron controlled by Du Xiaofu, releasing the brightest purple lightning. Many purple thunderbolts also struck Du Xiaofu and Moksha. Bathed in purple lightning, Moksha's armor emitted thunderous sounds as it absorbed the power of lightning. Du Xiaofu's body was covered with purple thunderbolts. In the sea of purple thunderbolts, he was even more unimpeded. Purple electric arcs burst out from the green spirit armor and swallowed the purple thunderbolts directly. Pieces of purple thunderbolts fell on Du Xiaofu's body like raindrops falling on the surface of a lake. They could cause ripples, but they were also swallowed directly. Obviously, there was a huge difference between him and Moksha. Cuckoo! This is too shocking. The surrounding creatures' throats were dry. They sucked in cold breaths of air, dumbstruck. Under the suppression of the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons, Du Xiaofu's purple thunder profound cauldron was also suppressed. The purple-gold profound thunder in the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons poured out, turning into 3 huge purple thunderbolts that were 1,000 feet long. They struck the purple thunder profound cauldron that Du Xiaofu was flying in a triangular formation. Just as I expected, Du Xiaofu was still fearless, and a wisp of a smile curled up on the corners of his mouth. With a command in his heart, the violet lightning profound cauldron under his control revolved, and it instantly continued to expand by 3 kilometers while ceaselessly emitting rumbling sounds of lightning flashing and thunder rumbling. Boom! Boom! At this moment, the void trembled violently again. The purple electric arcs on the purple thunder profound cauldron controlled by Du Xiaofu intensified. The surrounding purple thunder source rolled, and the vast destructive power of the thunderbolts multiplied in an instant. At the same time, a terrifying devouring power swept out from the purple thunder cauldron controlled by Du Xiaofu. It devoured the 3 purple lightning light pillars on the 3 purple thunder cauldrons controlled by Moksha. It was like a bottomless pit, madly devouring everything on its own. Moksha's sneering face was instantly replaced by surprise. He did not expect that the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons he controlled could not suppress Du Xiaofu's 1 purple thunder profound cauldron. Moksha used all his strength to activate the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons, trying to break free from the devouring power of Du Xiaofu's purple thunder profound cauldron. However, he found that under the powerful devouring power, the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons were no longer under his control and could not break free. Moksha was even shocked to find that the 3 purple thunder profound cauldrons he controlled were not only unable to suppress Du Xiaofu's purple thunder profound cauldron, but they were also getting closer to it as if they would break free from his control at any time. The 4 purple thunder profound cauldrons rumbled in the void. The void had completely turned into a sea of purple thunderbolts. Electric arcs overflowed, and the void trembled. Endless thunderbolts burst out like endless thunderbolts that shook one's soul. Puff! In the void far away, Imo Lingzi was vomiting blood. The thunder martial vein on his body had dimmed. His body was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. Golden flames flickered in little Xingxing's eyes. His little body turned into a bolt of lightning and rapidly chased after Imo Lingzi, wanting to take the opportunity to kill him. Boom! Suddenly, a figure wrapped in thunder and lightning crossed the void. A thunderbolt finger mark pierced through the void and aimed at the back of little Xingxing's head. In the void, little Xingxing's figure dodged the thunderbolt finger mark at an unbelievable angle. However, his figure was also hindered, so he didn't pursue Imo Lingzi. Sensing the aura of the finger mark, he immediately turned around. The one who launched the sneak attack was a short-haired, middle-aged man shrouded in demonic aura. Lightning flashed around him, and his eyes were like lightning, causing one's soul to tremble. It's you. When little Xingxing saw this person, the coldness in his eyes intensified. Not long ago, he had seen this person outside the Eternal Tomb. He was the Thunder Devil envoy of the Devil religion and had even fought with him. Just now, this person was still fighting with Qixingpu of the Yinyang school. Kill! Without stopping, little Xingxing's little figure had already rushed up to the sky when he saw the Thunder Devil envoy. The golden flames in front of his little fist burned the void and blasted towards the former. Little mixed blood dragon, I'll end you this time. The Thunder Devil envoy's thunderbolt eyes surged with killing intent. As his voice spread out, a rumbling sound accompanied by a monstrous demonic aura surging. Lightning flashed and blasted towards little Xingxing. Rumble. This collision caused a dull sound to spread out. The space where the 2 fists collided shattered inch by inch. Golden flames and lightning swept out in all directions. Roar. A dragon's roar resounded, and destructive energy swept out. Little Xingxing transformed back into his true form. His entire body was golden, and his 100-feet-long phoenix wings were covered with 7-colored flames. Starlight flowed on his dragon scales, and his supreme being aura swept across the firmament. The Thunder Devil Envoy's eyes darkened. He didn't dare to be careless. His hand seals were rapidly formed, and monstrous demonic aura and lightning swept out like a violent storm. The demonic aura was monstrous, and lightning bolts wreaked havoc as they blasted towards Little Xingxing. Just a half-step sage. Kill. Little Xingxing's huge dragon body stretched across the void. He wasn't afraid of the demonic aura and lightning waves at all. He directly traversed through the void, shattering the void. A divine ring appeared behind him, and the nirvana power rumbled. Du Xiaoyao's redbone horse monkey body and the Jialo demonic rock body were still fiercely clashing. Both of them had activated their nirvana power. One of them could sweep across the 4 directions and suppress all living things. The other demonic rock struck the firmament, and the 9 underworld demonic lightning poured out in all directions. The 2 terrifying young supremes were locked in a stalemate. But it was different for the others. Under the siege of the Wind Devil Envoy, the Fire Devil Envoy, the Ice Devil Envoy, and the evil spirits and demonic beasts, although Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoshu, Dongfang Qingmu, Nether Demon, Jialo Jueyu, and the others were gradually suppressed. They were at a disadvantage, and some of them began to vomit blood. In the distance, among the Buddhists, there was a Saint Realm cultivator standing in the void. Beside him was Hung Luan, and there was even Zhouxing. First Elder, are you going to fight? Zhouxing asked. Her eyes were filled with divine light. Her face was still as delicate as jade, and there were 9 Buddhist scars on her head, like 9 mysterious runes. She was originally wearing a scarlet brocade robe, but now she was wearing a scarlet 7-robed kasaya. Her temperament was still outstanding, and she exuded an aura of supremacy. But this aura was restrained under the influence of the Buddhists. Ba, the Buddhist Saint Realm cultivator, the first elder, chanted. His expression was inscrutable. Not far away, in the demon world, Hongyue's beautiful eyes flashed. She said to the Saint Realm cultivator next to her, Sacred Elder, we have to help. That demon king Du Xiaofu once helped me. Let's wait and see. It's not that simple. The Saint Realm cultivator from the demon world was hale and hearty, and his aura was powerful. He was definitely a terrifying existence. Ancestor, I'm afraid those people won't be able to fight against the devil religion. Not far away, Xiang Wushuang looked at the battlefield. He was shocked by the 4 purple thunder cauldrons, and his expression was complicated. The devil religion is those demons. They won't be able to hold on for much longer. Xiang Chongqing's expression was complicated. He was watching the battle between the saints. Others couldn't see the chaotic void, but he could. Jialo Batian, Moon Saint, Xingu, and the others were strong, but they were losing ground in front of the demon emperors and ancient saints. They wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. At the top of the void, the bodies of the 5 demon emperors were connected to the vortex. Demonic chi filled the sky, and the light of the 13 chains grew dimmer and dimmer. They were corroded by the demonic chi and showed signs of cracking and collapsing. Kiki, can't hold us anymore. In the bottomless abyss, there were layers of demon shadows, and the sinister laughter became more and more piercing. This is bad. Du Xiaofu and Moksha were in a stalemate, but they were also aware of the situation around them. Hua Leizi, we can't let the 5 demon emperors' primordial spirits escape and merge. Du Xiaofu said to Hua Leizi in his Mudpill Palace. At this time, only Hua Leizi could help. It's not the best time yet. Hua Leizi's illusory figure appeared in Du Xiaofu's Mudpill Palace. A complicated look flashed in his eyes, and then he said, I feel that the devil religion's divine thunder cauldrons aren't as good as yours. Maybe you can seize the opportunity to control them. It's not easy to control them. Du Xiaofu rolled his eyes at Hua Leizi. Although Moksha didn't completely control the purple thunder cauldrons, it won't be easy for him to seize them. That's the only way. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened, and he made a decision.